hold our heads up high and beat the drum to what we love. Risk the fall, oh, we have felt it all come crashing down from far above. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding, only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies, the champions of a world that we defy. A soul ray of the few who rise up high, and we all fight at the last strike. Hearing voices from afar, join the madness when the curtain falls. Risk it all, hold nothing back. Seize the day, we must attack. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding, only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies, the champions of a world that we defy. A soul ray of the few who rise up high, and we all fight at the last strike. Can we bring to fall the giants? 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 We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies, the champions of a world that we defy. A soul ray of the few who rise up high, and we all fight at the last strike.
And we are ready to go here for some Blue Otter Diamond League action in the quarterfinals, bringing you the matchup between Synthetic Insanity and Legacy 9. Tonight will be myself, Isaac. Joining me alongside on the microphone here will be Colonel, with hopes and promises to be an exciting series so far. L9 coming in as the 4th seed out of Freylord and the 1st seed out of Shrima is Synthetic Insanity, and straight away into the draft. We don't have time to really breathe about this. Oriana, Mbessa, and Silas already locked in, Colonel.
Yeah, and honestly, for Legacy 9, I like the start that they're going for, but it's so unorthodox. You very rarely see teams picking their solo laners first. You usually are especially on red side, heavily prioritizing counter picks. But obviously, the Silas does get to see the Oriana. It's a fantastic ultimate to use. I would love for Legacy 9 to pick something like a Sejuani in the jungle to pair with these double melee solo laners. But on the opposite side, for Synthetic Insanity, a very powerful AD carry in Yunara, as well as Poppy. Poppy, a fantastic pick considering both Mbessa and Silas.
Yeah.
Kit's full of dashes, so kind of the opposite of what we'd expect. Usually, red side is the one that's countering what blue side is showing, but the Poppy already countering a lot of Legacy 9's first 2 picks.
Yeah, the Poppy with the steadfast presence will deny a lot of what they want, but the misfortune being locked in early on for Legacy 9 is a bit interesting. I know they do have a substitute in at ADC tonight, if I heard correctly. It is yes, ADC and support, so you know what we might not have seen is coming through. Qixing will be in at support for Legacy 9 specifically, which is a really interesting one as well, because earlier this season, Qixing actually filled in as a substitute for Synthetic Insanity earlier on, so that could definitely provide some interesting dynamics here with a player who's now played on the opposite side of this matchup.
Yeah, we still haven't seen what they're going to pick up for the support role. And I don't expect bans to be sent that way either. Obviously, for Legacy 9, banning away bad matchups for Mbessa in the top side. And for Synthetic Insanity, already banning away the Maokai, which I think makes a lot of sense. You're looking for a support that pairs beneficially with the Misfortune to overlap those ultimates and set something up for strong team fights. Even though you're fighting against an Oriana Yunara, good team fight ultimates and good team fight skirmish ability. Also the Bard, which I think makes a lot of sense. I understand it being paired with the Misfortune and being powerful, but now a Cassante?
I mean, Mbessa Jungle is one that has been rising in popularity, so that does offer that sort of flexibility. As this is best of 5, and with Fearless being the standard in competitive play now in League of Legends, it is also a really big takeaway from Batman on Synthetic Insanity. He's a really big Cassante player, has played it every week for the last 4 weeks, so getting that off the hands, as well just generally being a relatively decent pick, not awesome. It's a reliable one. And I mean, all right, okay, well, all right then. We got some Demacian Justice up in the top lane for Synthetic Insanity. They've all right, yeah, sure. Game 1 in a best of 5, going for the Garen. I mean,
I love it. Garen has a great lane into Cassante, as Garen tends to always do, have a good lane. Also, that means that they're going to be pushing the Poppy down into support, which I think is actually pretty good in this spot. And Trundle in the jungle. Trundle skirmishes incredibly well, will do well in the 1v1 into Mbessa, and by swapping this down, the Poppy offers a good amount of protection for the Yunara, because the people that are coming down, the Mbessa in the jungle, the Silas roaming from mid, all have dashes, so the Poppy is really the best bodyguard in the world in this support role. And the R5 support pick Elise for the East sub it's a movie. This is awesome. There's so much power. There's so much.
I mean,
devastation in that 2v2. Elise hits a cocoon and you're dead. And on the opposite side, if Poppy hits the charge into the wall, Misfortune also very rightfully probably should be dead. So there's going to be so much fighting in the bot lane. I expect that both teams are going to be sending everyone that they can afford to down there to try and push it in their favor. But this draft has turned out incredible.
Yeah, it went a little bit, I mean, slightly unorthodox, showing the Ambessa and Silas early on the side of L9 to just outright, what in the what in the world are we looking at? The last pick, the Elise support, is, I mean, as you mentioned, with paired up with the Misfortune, the amount of power that this bot lane can bring early on is absolutely immense. My only concern, though, is that there's not a lot of setup in terms of the Misfortune for that bullet time, the amount of damage that can bring. It's a lot of single target CC, a lot of like go in and pick out one individual person. So it might be a little bit harder for the Misfortune to operate a little bit later on. And the Elise notoriously falls off super hard.
Yeah, if you're playing Elise in the late game, there's just about everything else you could do in the world on top of that list before you want to pick Elise in like a 50-minute game. It's just no fun. But for the first 20 minutes, I feel like it must be incredible. And although you're right, there isn't this big wombo combo setup for the Misfortune. Two things. One, I think Misfortune has a lot of early lane power, and pairing that with an Elise has its own different strength. You're not setting up for the big team fight ultimate, but you're getting permanent priority in that bottom lane. Your jungle Ambessa can have her run of the Drake pit, can be constantly looking into the opponent jungle. I think that also Misfortune lately has been building lethality, so a lot more of that damage obviously is in the ult, but also in that Q. Just so much single target damage. And Elise can really facilitate that with the cocoon. So I actually like it a lot. Also, that means that Silas is not the solo AP. It rounds out the composition a lot. I will have to admit, I'm a big Ambessa jungle hater. I actually don't even care about the stats. I just hate the concept.
You hate the concept of it? Yeah, that's fair.
This is a great way to do it. Picking it early, although you do let something like the Poppy through that does hurt your composition in multiple lanes. You threaten it early. You get to see the rest of the draft before you decide where you send that Ambessa. You decide that you need a tank for team fighting. You put that Cassante up in the top lane, and then Elise rounds out that comp, so you have an easy point of power in the early game. And I think that that's something that I'm curious what is going to be true for Trundle, because you probably want to also be sending your way down bot lane. But I'm not too sure you win that unless you hit a great pillar onto Misfortune, or obviously you have that Poppy Trundle combo where you can headbutt into the pillar. But I think the 3v3 is going to be on the side of Legacy 9, and I don't know, as much as Garen is awesome and as much as Garen is going to win this lane, I don't know if you want to put all your eggs in the Garen top lane basket.
Yeah, I mean, he just kind of runs at you, and well, if he can get to you, it definitely does quite a bit, especially if you find, in this case, it would be the Misfortune is who Batman is looking to run at really fast and drop everything onto them. But also on the side of Legacy 9, the little bit of a lack of solid like snap engage as well, which might be okay with how much L9 wants to run at them and how defensively they can play with the Poppy. But other than that, it's just perhaps one slight overstep or misstep in their drafting so far.
Yeah, I think it's just very different styles. You know, if this game is even in the mid game, for as much potency as each of these champions has for Legacy 9, you have to have a good amount of confidence in Synthetic Insanity's composition because of just how much range they have over them. You have an AD carry that's, albeit much shorter. There's this weird dichotomy where the range advantage is so heavily in Legacy Nine's favor in the bot lane and absolutely nowhere else. You know, Garen is probably going to be able to run you down a little further than Cassante is. Oriana is going to poke out your 4 melees sometimes, composition, and you you have to walk into them, but it's hard to walk into them, right? So Legacy 9 does not have an easy game unless this bot lane can get off to the races. We'll see if they can do just that, but we are going to take a quick break while we head onto the Rift. Make sure you guys stay tuned. We'll be right back.
And we have loaded onto the Rift, ready to go here in Game 1 between Synthetic Insanity and Legacy 9 for the Blue Otter Diamond League quarterfinals. Synthetic Insanity coming into this one is one of the favorites to take the whole tournament. And L9, they've definitely got a few quality names on their roster, but they haven't exactly had the best season so far, Colonel.
Yeah, I mean, it's multiple players actually looking for an early word. I think they should be able to get it, and also I think that there won't be any competing vision. Oriana is pinging that she wants to walk in. She might be able to get it. No one's really gonna stop her if she does. And actually, no, looks like they will. It will be late, but they still will get it down. So just a trade of vision. Neither jungler has red trinket, so that's, I guess, a fine, dandy old trade there. But yeah, surprisingly, L9 hasn't really found the success that many have probably expected out of them. This top side has stayed consistent all season long, and while individually they've all found success, still trying to find the right combination here. And really, this is where it counts. You know, the regular season is all just a warm-up for this. So we'll see if they can finally find that winning recipe here against one of the favorites of the whole league.
Yeah, and you know, in a single elimination tournament, tournament, all that matters is how you perform on the day of. And Tango, a bit earlier in the Diamond League general chat, was saying he was tilting a little bit from solo queue earlier on. So I mean, you never
This is their
know.
chance.
This is the chance for L9 to be able to come through. Obviously, it's the potential for the mind games as well. You know, to maybe have a little bit of overconfidence from Potato Senpai, who kind of expected earlier on being in the range versus melee matchup, getting poked out by said Tango, who was tilting at least earlier, doing all right at least early on as expected.
Yeah, not only is it a range versus melee matchup, but Oriana is the queen of punishing aggressive early lane. She just has so much post damage with her QW. She's so safe with her E. It's just a very difficult lane to get through. And frankly, regardless of the HP, this is a fantastic spot for Sylas as long as he doesn't die, because he's even in CS. It's on the cannon wave. I would already have been resetting if I were Sylas. I don't know why he's still sticking around. But all that you need to do is stay even until your jungler can come, or until you can get out of that lane and start affecting the side lanes for your Elise Misfortune bot lane, or to try and punish an overly aggressive Garen who's running Flash Ignite.
Speaking of the bot lane, you said you wanted to see some intention down here from the junglers earlier on with how volatile Misfortune and Elise can be. Biomatrix already getting kind of low. As a result, Splitbreed kind of hovering just to make sure Rigor Mortis doesn't show up to try to blow this game wide open in the bot lane. But as Rigor Mortis, cleared the first Scuttle Crab, is going to look for the double Scuttle instead, looking to get himself a little lead for himself.
This is the fantastic thing for having such an aggressive bot lane as Misfortune Elise, because Rigor Mortis was able to go down to that bot crab, split breed path top to bot, so of course the Trundle wants it, but you can't walk your way in there, so then Ambessa is able to walk her way up to the river and get another one. It's just so beneficial for a jungler to have a lane that will always get you prio in the cocoon.
Oh, Biomatrix taken very low by Chasing, not an early Ignite drop down to ensure that Biomatrix has to question things with their health bar. Going to have to recall already when coming back with a Cole and a dagger in hand a bit prematurely, earlier than they would have really wanted to.
Oh, this is a really bad timer for Batman, because he's looking aggressive right as Ambessa's here in the Q stance. Oh no.
Rigor Mortis is showing up, and the tower is there to help out R19, so Batman just going to preemptively flash away, but the flash response from Rigor Mortis will look to find the kill, and it does. First blood to Legacy 9.
Ugh, and that's immediately punishing for taking the Ignite. You can't get your way back there. Bundles now in the mid lane. I don't think Sylas has to be all that
Splitbreed
careful.
will drop down the pillar, but he himself is in a ton of trouble, having to flash away from G-Sing and Potato Senpai. Running things earlier on the Elise, not only affecting the bot lane in a big way, but coming mid and getting an advantage. But hold on, over Winfrey. Going to try to get Cheese seen very low. Drops Ignite very early, but there's no real support for him to really threaten the kill onto the Elise.
Yes, Splitbreed was overly confident there, and I think I would have also done the same thing. It feels like you can walk in there, but if Orianna can't help you, then it's really not good. And now Silas looking really aggressive.
But the spell rotation already fully down, so no extra damage from Potato Senpai. Splitbreed is here to help out Tango if Potato Senpai goes too far. Over for the Winfrey as well, arriving the charge forward, but Potato Senpai gets an overconfident Tango, is able to trade the kill back in the 3v1 gank.
Potato deserves some applause there. That pillar had him dead to rights for a long time. No flash, already E'd forward, but landing that Q onto Tango still trades it back. That is so important, but Trundle gets so much in this mid lane. They should be able to punish him though.
Public execution available, will land its way onto Splitbreed. Cheesing arriving, getting the kill, securing it for himself, as well as the feats of warfare to Legacy 9.
Yeah, I think that's actually pretty beneficial that goes on to the Elise as well. An Elise who's not ahead is a cannon minion and change. She really can't do anything without some amount of a gold lead, so already getting a kill in her favor for the, frankly, just greed out of Splitbreed. He had a lot of damage on turret, already got 2 plates, and that feels fantastic, but dying, losing all of your tempo, Best is now 14 CS up, has a kill over you, and got the Drake that's
and
already not
looking
good.
Back mid, Shockwave will find its way down onto both Cheesing and Potato Senpai, and so the target is onto the Silas, but the response, Shockwave stolen, is able to get a kill onto the Splitbreed. Open for the Winfrey arriving, seeing if they can't get anything back, but Legacy 9 continuing a very strong performance here in game 1.
Potato says, anything you can do, I can do better. The Silas ultimate absolutely made such a big difference compared to Tango's Shockwave. Meant not nearly as much. It was so much more impactful. And now, because you already have leads, and this is a composition that kind of already needs a lead, but 2 kills onto your Elise, your mid laner has a kill, your jungler has a kill, you already have 1,000 gold advantage. Not even 8 minutes into the game, and you have the first Drake. L9 has to feel incredible going up against what should be tournament favorites.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly where L9 lives in their comfort zone. When they get ahead, they thrive off confidence, and when they make these plays, they're very hard to stop. Even smiting away 1 grub for themselves with their lead, they're going to push Synthetic Insanity off this neutral objective. They're going to get all 3 grubs for themselves, despite Synthetic Insanity taking the extra time to get there first.
Yeah, that must feel so bad for Splitbreed, just losing out on that smite. So even though you started it, even though you sent up your bot lane to the top lane early to force that objective and at least get the trade from the Drake earlier, you lose all 3. You don't even get a single one. That has got to feel bad. They've got to start looking for what kind of plays they can make around the map, and I think, frankly, you have to be punishing these flash timers. Potato has no flash still. Rigamortis about to have the flash back up, and the Elise has already used it. All of these are timers that you have to really punish because you cannot continue to bleed out of this early game.
Yeah, and especially Cheesing will have a much longer downtime on the flash. And speaking of no flash, Potato Senpai will ensure that he gets hit by the Shockwave. Will steal the Trundle ult away to try to heal up, but it's not nearly enough. As we talked about those punishments on the flash, Synthetic Insanity do just that, right on command.
Yeah, you have to feel a little bit bad because right as he uses the E2 to land onto Orianna, that's when he sees the Trundle. He's like, uh-oh, I wish I could take that back. But Trundle, I don't know if this is your jungle anymore.
Yeah, public execution drops onto Splitbreed. Rigor Mortis burns him down with Cheesing. Opens for the Winfrey. I think you can't really do much about this one. Staying very aggressive though, despite it being a bit of a 1v3. Blush was slowly arriving there to the fight as well. But yeah, I mean, L9, even though they take 1 step back, they go forward, take away the red buff, and Splitbreed, it wasn't his jungle, and once again, all out committed by R19. We'll get the flash away from Batman, and trade of flashes so far. 2-1, not quite going to hit the mark, and so Batman will be okay.
The combo was fantastic. The cocoon straight into public execution. Trundle really couldn't play the game, but now Invest is here. I don't know if you really have a window. They may be trying to set up a dive, but it is already warded.
Public execution of available potatoes. Senpai stealing away the Transcend 1 stealth. It's a bit of an odd choice, but moving back up to the top lane. R19 in trouble, and Demacia! The justice rains down on R19 with the assist coming through from Split Breed.
Great punishment immediately to not let it just happen, where Cassante will blow Flash, blow R, and get away with it. He does not, and frankly, probably rightfully so, but he does over-aggression out of the Cassante getting punished in a quite impactful way. The rest of the map is completely losing. L9 has their run everywhere they look. I don't think Cassante needs to get in on the action quite yet. Garen needs to get a lead.
Wait,
he has Ignite.
Split Breed and Batman are looking at R19 running back to lane. No Demacia Justice available again for CD Batman, but he does have the Ignite. And Split Breed gets a repeat kill onto a defenseless R19 walking back to lane. It's a classic cheese. And it works out, but Rick Mortis, CD Batman on the wrong side of the map, isolated from his jungler, so it's traded back instantly. Rigor Mortis doing well to catch out an overconfident top lane of Synthetic Insanity.
Well, punished even more. We were talking about Cassante being punished for the overaggression, for using the ultimate, using the flash in a lane where you don't need to, against a top laner who has Ignite and needs to have a lead. So they go one step further. They punish it even more. They sit in that bush. They wait for him to come back. And yes, Mbessa gets the kill. It's fantastic. Mbessa got her own lead, but that doesn't mean Cassante's game isn't over. Cassante just lost 2.5 waves under that turret. Garen got 3 plates while he was there. Yes, he died. It's just a fast reset because he doesn't have TP anyway. And Garen is now the ticket back because, look, the gold was 1,000, 1,500 in L9's favor. Now it's back to dead even.
And it's a very big moment of aggression in the top lane, but moving over to the opposite side of the map, the neutral objectives have all gone the way of Legacy 9, and actually the abduct in onto Tango will land the knockup. Shockwave finds its way onto 2, but Chising will probably have the damage with the Ignite and will repel away. Can they get off of Open for the Windfree? Not quite in time. Now this Poppy staying quite a while. Rigor Mortis moving to the mid lane. Doesn't have access to that public execution, so will not push the envelope any further.
Yeah, if Silas hit that E2, could have been a different story. Poppy gets the knockup. Trundle, if he has killers, still can look aggressive. Steadfast presence down onto Potato, sent by Subjugate, finding the Silas, but he's able to get out and away. Has plenty of mobility built into that champion. The Batman going forward. Senpai in a bit of trouble, but the damage coming through. Public execution drops its way onto Split Breed. It's a good audacious charge from For the Windfree. Shutdown goes onto the Garen, but the rest of Synthetic Insanity are helping out the remaining Batman. They will eventually get the Trundle. It is a 2-for-1. Going over to the side of Synthetic Insanity, a bit of a bloody exchange there, but Synthetic Insanity, despite their early troubles, have fought their way back into this one. Yeah, and it's just out of great skirmishing, knowing their points of power, knowing when not. Garen was on a roam window all the way down into the mid lane at the enemy's chicken coop because he had already pushed his wave in, and then because of that, you get to have a numbers advantage fight, even though, yes, you were down. Now the game is effectively even, but you're gonna get this tower, and at least might be able to punish.
Got a bit of damage going through onto Batman with the help of Chising will repel away, and Batman going to run as fast as he can, but it's a good follow-up. Chising going to secure the kill.
Yeah, and that's pretty important because the last 2 plays that Elise was there for, Elise died for. So remember, Elise still needs to, I wouldn't say have a lead anymore because we're about to be out of lane phase entirely, but needs to have enough damage that she can still make those kind of plays happen.
Shockwave going to be repelled away by Chising very fast on the hands to ensure that you don't get blown up. It would have been a kill to the side of Synthetic Insanity. R19 is on the wrong side of the map. The rest of L9 are collapsing. Blush drop a few auto attacks, but it's going to be yeeted away. Oprah for the Windfree. The Keeper's verdict says we don't want to fight here, and so we back off, and no blood is spilled on either side.
Yeah, honestly, I would disagree with that keeper's verdict. I think that Cassante had no right to be there, and he took a good amount of his HP already. He got stopped by the Poppy W. I feel like that was potentially a window, but points to be taken. Shockwave was already missed because of the repel, so maybe they're feeling that is a good amount of their team fight power. They don't want to try and pull trigger without it, and I understand that considering it is still a decently close game. And Garen wasn't there because Garen is a big point of power. If you toggle to gold, he has a huge lead, and now they're fighting for it. But Trundle's here.
Out. Batman going to flash away, pillar thrown up. It will only help the escape of Batman, who had to commit his flash.
Yeah, they could still look. I think Garen this is where it really sucks to not have TP. You'd love to reset TP back because he's gonna have to stay. He wants to try and get this wave at least pushed, but you really probably shouldn't be staying around now, especially because you're Trundle left, and now Elise knows this window as well, and she's here. I don't know if Garen can do this.
No flash on Batman. Cocoon not quite going to hit the mark, but there's nowhere really Batman can run except for maybe trying to burst down Chi-Sing. Demacian Justice will be repelled away from Chi-Sing, on point with the repels in this game so far.
Yeah, the R5 support pick coming in clutch so far, and you're right. Batman saw exactly what we saw. There was no way to go out except to go through, so he looks to get the burst after not being able to find the reach onto Cassante, because Cassante was playing quite respectfully as he needed to, and then Elise has to tank a lot of damage because the Garen can do that, but the spin to win doesn't get him there after the repel avoids the execution damage out of Demacian Justice, and now we're back into a very similar game state than we were before all that action. Although the gold is not in L9's favor, 2 Drakes to none is in their favor, so all things considered, a decently close to even game. And really, I think all eyes are pointed at this Drake. It is spawned. You see multiple members, actually all 5 members of L9 coming down into this river, and I don't know, we're a little bit late to contest this. L9 is already confidently in here. But they can try to do it.
Coming
to try and get a numbers
from
advantage.
Tango, there will be the full commit from both teams. CB Batman using his extra health bars to take space to push out the side of L9. Go forward. The audacious charge lands a stun onto R19. But a successful teleport coming through. Tango going to have to flash away, isolated from the rest of his team, and so now the rest of the claps from L9 Public Execution won't find the mark. Drake goes the way of Synthetic Insanity, but open for the Winfrey is going to flash over the wall to escape. Batman now the Abduct not going to hit. The Shockwave was lighted up on Potato Senpai, but the Cocoon does. The Shockwave for Potato Senpai sets things up for L9, but the response comes through. Biomatrix transcends oneself, throwing the damage down onto L9, but the all-out lands onto the Yunara, setting up L9 for a couple more kills. 4-for-2 going the way of Legacy 9.
Oh, I don't know why we're fighting that. L9 has such a confident control over the pit. They give it up because they're looking for the pick onto Tango, and when they can't find it, you think, wow, this is fantastic. We all survive. Poppy has to flash over the wall, but she gets out too. They just missed Ambassador. We can leave. We don't get punished for this at all. But they look for the fight anyway. And as soon as that Poppy W is down, then Ambessa can dash back in, use all that strength that she has. Because remember, she's still incredibly powerful. 4-1-4 now. I think that was a fight that wasn't needed to be taken. And L9 pounces on the opportunity. Now, they may have lost a Drake, but a ton of gold going into their pocket.
Yeah, and it would have been nice to get to the soul point, but the extra gold always going to be feeling really good. Importantly, as you mentioned, Ambessa walking back with 2 items, having Cyclist Sword completed. Potato Senpai trying to go through the steadfast presence. Will survive for a while, but hold on, Biomatrix caught out by Chi-Sing. Solo kill for the Elise, separating this fight out. And so 2 picks go the way of Legacy 9 as they turn onto the Otacon.
This is unbelievable. This is kind of the opposite story that you would expect to have. Synthetic Identity, the team that has been the top of the tables all season long, is the one that's split called, the one that can't be. They look like chickens with their heads cut off, frankly. Poppy continues to stay in the fight while the rest of the team breaks off the fight to try and help someone who already died to the Elise pick, and then they don't win the fight on the top side. They're still picked on the bot side, and everything comes up L9 favor. Now they'll continue to get even more advantages as they've gotten themselves, the Herald? Now they have themselves a tower. They've got everything that they could have gotten out of that, and fantastic goalies for every individual member. And it comes off the back of what is the team not playing together, which is absolutely ridiculous considering this team is top of the table for so long, coming in as one of the favorites, and this is how they look.
Yeah, it's also Legacy 9 doing really well to stay true to their team's identity of non-stop aggression. It obviously hasn't worked out perfectly for them so far, only coming in with a 50% win rate into playoffs, but I mean, right now they're making it as well as they possibly can, and they really are a very big feast or famine team. They are really feasting so in this game, especially down onto Batman, onto Split Breed in particular, have been eaten up by this Legacy 9 tune. Rigor Mortis as well, just one of those players that is a bit of a coin flip, but it has landed heads here in game 1.
Yeah, it does. And honestly, oftentimes I think this can happen to top teams. They gotta look for the dive here.
Not going to be a dive because there's no more tower goods. That fast presence, a dodge out on the public execution, so for the win free will get out. But that's the only consolation Synthetic Insanity have as they lose their tier 1 tower. But there's only 4 members in the mid lane, all the while Batman splitting up alone in the top lane. These tier 2 towers, they're worth quite a bit of gold these days.
Yeah, Cassante and Bessel will not be there in time, especially without the public execution. That was a good dodge by Oprah. And now, yeah, Garen's able to get it, 700 gold into the pocket, evening up that gold once again. The teams are now even. It doesn't feel like it, but they actually are. And a lot of that comes off the back of fantastic CS differential in both of their solo lanes. This is what happens when Red Side picks their solo lanes super early. 194 to 145 for the Garen. Obviously, Garen staying in the side lanes while Cassante is not, so that does account for some of it. But also, Orianna with 30 CS advantage over Silas. So, all in all, I think you're feeling pretty good, but you do really have to win this fight for Synthetic Insanity because the next Drake 5 seconds away from spawning.
That man's going to flash forward onto Rigor Mortis. He flashes over the pillar. The Ambessa's gone low. They'll make it out full time. Not going to find anybody. And now Split Breed taken down. Keeper's Verdict will send away one member of Legacy 9, but that's not going to be enough to stop the fight because L9 run forward. It's a legacy performance for this team, for the 5 of them. And now Tango in the sights. The last remaining member of Synthetic Insanity, and there's nothing Tango can do to survive here around, doing his best, traveling away. Actually might be able to, at the very end, stay alive, and actually Legacy 9 may have pushed a little bit too far on the wrong side of this tower. R19 taking 2 tower shots, and shutdown goes away of Tango because Cheesing had nowhere to go. So a little bit of an exciting play for L9, getting a bit overexcited in that exchange, but at the end of the day, they get what they came for. They get the Drake on the back end of that fight. Rigor Mortis was successfully taking that alone, and they put themselves on Soul Point.
You know, this unparalleled aggression out of L9 is absolutely a double-edged sword. It has given them this fantastic lead that they have already, but instead of cracking open an inhibitor to have advantage to look for whatever the next objective that they want is, it could have been Baron in 20 seconds. Instead, 4 members dive for an Orianna, and you gift a 900 gold kill from the Elites rappelling down straight into Orianna's arms. So you'll have to keep your eyes on the next Shockwave because she just got a lump sum of cash. She's now even with gold, in gold with Silas. But still, they got themselves a Drake, they got themselves a fantastic team fight win, and that was the fight that Synthetic Insanity really needed. Even up the Drakes, have an even gold state with the Orianna comp, with Garen still on a split push, this game would have looked a lot different, but they lose that fight and they lose it handily. Poppy, Keeper's Verdict out Rigor Mortis, who is on 10 HP. He gets to survive. The Ignite never went down, and the rest of the team just gets eviscerated by these 3 strong melee characters.
And Tango is found once again. Keeper's Verdict adds on to the CC, but the Seraph's Embrace keeps them alive for a little bit longer, but not long enough. First heal goes the way of L9. Potato sent by Dunes and Kingslayer to heal up. He eventually goes down, but the rest of L9 arrive. Blush on a rampage with Baron up and available. Where he's still got a bit of an exchange here in the bottom lane. Both top laners going at Demacian Justice, not going to get the damage needed to kill R19, and it's a solo kill for the Cassante.
Oh, that's a 200 years camp. I watched the Garen ultimate come down, and I think he healed health from it. It was actually ridiculous how strong this Cassante has gotten. 2 items, so tanky, but wins on both sides of the map for L9. They get themselves the pick, they get the team fight after because they were the first to rotate. I think as the team that's behind, I think Synthetic Insanity has to know if a fight's happening, if you're not there first, it's lost. You need to have a numbers advantage and get in, get out with whatever you can come with. They didn't in time. L9 comes back, the reinforcements arrive, and on the opposite side of the map, Cassante wins. Now they have Baron. Drake's still 2 minutes away from spawning, but they don't need to look for Drake. They can fight their way into this jungle, limit even more resources, and they could put pressure on the side lanes. Orianna, I don't know if you're allowed to be there.
Tango in trouble will speed themselves up to get away. The shockwave used against Tango. Keeper's Verdict sends the Silas away, but it's not enough to keep the Orianna alive. Oprah for the win tree, killed in short order by Rigor Mortis as well. 2 for nothing, going the way of L9, and it's just, you can't contest these sorts of situations.
Orianna was not allowed to be there. She dies immediately. The rest of the team collapses, and now they have such an advantage.
Oh, public execution will find its way on Biomatrix. A good cocoon from Cheesing to find the Yunara. And really well done, but the shutdown goes the way of Split Breed onto Rigor Mortis, so a bit more gold injected into the side of Synthetic Insanity at the very least. Demacian Justice once again will only come up just short onto R19. There's another solo kill for the Cassante, but all around the map, Synthetic Insanity's base is crumbling, but the W will slow down Cheesing. Blush in trouble. Blush getting autoed down. A good pill from Split Bleed finds an isolated Misfortune. And the Soul and Subjugate, but a good shield from Tango won't actually be enough to save the Poppy. Bit of an AP Trundle ult actually does a very surprising amount of damage. It's one of those fun ones. You ever seen a Trundle actually build AP on a completely slightly related tangent, Colonel? You ever seen AP Trundle?
Never, but now I know I need to. That was awesome.
Trundle's ult, I believe, has like a 120% like AP ratio on it. And so it's the only AP ratio Trundle has, and because it is like a 40-second cooldown when you use it, it's totally not worth building on Trundle, but in the hands of Silas, it does so much damage.
Wow, that's awesome. Oh, Orianna, you're not allowed to be there again.
Yeah, Tango too far, but actually Cheesing may have pushed it. Apparently Tango is allowed to be there. Cheesing's very squishy, completely deleted by Tango, but in terms of Orianna, the ult stolen away by Potato Senpai, and the collapse now goes out onto Batman. Flashing away, public execution will land the mark. They're at a numbers disadvantage, though. They may have gone a little bit too far. The over-aggression not quite working out for them just yet, but the bullet time gets a decent amount of damage onto all the members of Synthetic Insanity, but no kills just yet onto the insane members. And finally, with Blush arriving, the auto attacks coming through, dropping down with the love taps, doing the extra AD damage. Biomatrix and Batman are the only 2 left alive on Synthetic Insanity. L9 pushes into the base. They take down the first tower, but a few of these health bars are back up. The Demacian Justice gets the shutdown for Biomatrix, who transcends oneself, dropping the auto attacks. The kill is immediately traded back onto Batman. Biomatrix doing his best to push forward and get a few extra kills, but won't test his luck. Will instead go back to save the tower, and Blush and R19 will just trot away, get out of there, will lick their wounds, but turn their eyes onto the Drake, the Soul Point Drake at that.
Yeah, that's quite the consolation prize. You can't win the game, but you get soul, you get what the equivalent of a couple thousand extra gold on top of what is slowly and slowly just amounting already. You have a 5k gold lead, what is probably a 2 or 3k gold advantage out of that soul. I would, if you can't win the game, I think that's a pretty good consolation prize, but it all came on the back of Elise going a little bit too far. I thought it was fine, but Mbessa decided to back out. Silas wasn't rotating like I thought he was going to, and they get punished and they still look for the fight. Legacy 9 looks for it after that pick goes down. You're on a numbers disadvantage, and if Synthetic Insanity got that and left, it could have been the start of a comeback, but they stuck around. Poppy actually flashed forward to get the E into the wall, and they get punished, but all's well that ends well because Yunara is up in time. The Garen finally gets to execute, and they are able to hold onto the base. So we still have a final stand. One Nexus turret remains, only one inhibitor down, but their backs are against the wall.
Yeah, and with Baron spawning in 40 seconds, if L9 doesn't end the game in that time, which they're looking to push in the mid to even do so, it can very comfortably just back away, start up Baron for himself, but Oprah Winfrey is not going to try to end it here. Silas has gone low. Biomatrix picks up that kill. FTW setting that one up really well. It's a very big member of L9 who will be down for the next 50 seconds, who will not be available for this Baron take.
That's awesome. That's Synthetic Insanity. Just find the pick onto Silas. Silas is so powerful, but he doesn't have any defensive items. When you're ahead like this, you have no reason not to get defensive items. He doesn't, and they're able to get the pick. And of course, it's on Yunara, and now they can look for a fight with numbers advantage once Oriana's back.
Oprah for the Winfrey finds the stun onto the dead tower. Public execution not quite going to come through.
They dodge him.
Rigor Mortis, and the all out will be sending them over the wall. Isolates a member. Rigor Mortis getting the kill onto Split Breed, but Synthetic Insanity are still healthy. Rigor Mortis goes forward, but Demasian Justin stops the Ambessa moment, and the collapse onto Blush secures the ace for Synthetic Insanity. Baron is up. Potato Senpai is the only member left alive from L9 from the earlier death. He's full health, and so oh wait, he's teleporting in. He's teleporting in. There's the response from Tango. Oh, okay, yeah. Tango also used their own TP. So
actually, all things considered, that's fantastic out of Potato, because 3 members is enough for you to go get Baron, but when Oriana has to TP back to the base because she's worried about the game just ending, now they cannot get the Baron. They can't get any advantage out of this massive fight that they won. By some miracle, all 5 members stay out of this misfortune, and they win the fight. Demasian Justice takes out the last remaining threat before Oriana was about to pop like a balloon, and they can't get anything off of it. There's no Elder, there's no Baron. They have to reset, they have to TP, so they have to make that miracle happen again. They got a lot of gold in the pocket. Let's be honest, they now have only a 1,000 gold difference, but frankly, it feels like you need more than that. This team has such control. They're trying to look for another pick now, but I don't think you can get Silas this time. He has a good escape. His team's already there. Elise looking for the pick. Yeah. I don't know. They have to make a miracle again.
Hold on. Tango stepped up too far. Once again, has to flash away. Will get over the wall. Keeper's verdict going to yeet out the members of L9, stop that potential pit, but Tango is low, and now Batman will be the target, and Bullet Time flies over top, not hitting too many members, and the Demasian Justice drops down onto R19. The flash forward for Potato Senpai finds a few low targets, and it's 2 separated for Synthetic Insanity. The stolen Demasian Justice is brought down on Garen himself, and now L9, they don't need Baron, they don't need any of these extra objectives to push into the mid lane to secure game 1 to Legacy 9.
Yeah, you know, if they could have gotten Baron off of that, if Synthetic could have found some advantage, Oriana's gonna die too. Is kind of dead in the water and starts off a terrible fight. Tango's 10% HP when the rest of that fight happens. So even though they have the pick, it doesn't really matter, and the rest of the fight goes about exactly what you would expect, right?
Yeah. And on a whole, Legacy 9 bringing out the aggression that whole game. It's the style they've gone for this whole season. It's been 50-50 for them. It's quite literally with that 3-3 record under their belts. But it works out this time over one of the favorites to win the whole league. And it's a long, it's the first battle of a long war. But you got to win them whenever you can. And you take that first one in favor for yourselves. Feeling pretty good.
Yeah, I think for Synthetic Insanity, I think the name of the game is just take a breath. Calm down. You looked a little bit flustered. I think for a team that's been so dominant in their regular season, being pushed so aggressively early can be something that's hard to keep pace with. But it seems like they were flustered all throughout that game. I think they have to take a breath, reset, and if the game is even in those spots, I think they could look a lot different. They had so close to a comeback in game 1, so we certainly have quite a series on our hands.
Yeah, and with that, we're going to send it to a break. But when we come back, we'll be bringing you a draft of game 2, so don't go anywhere. And, well, it was not really much of a break at all because these two teams are ready to go right back into it immediately, not given any time to slow down, which, I mean, considering how that first game went is pretty fitting for the way things have gone so far, Colonel.
Yeah, absolutely. And already very quickly into picks, they left up the Xinjiao, but L9 does not decide to take it. They prefer the Wukong, and very quickly, in response, it's Victor Jin, which is an interesting duo. Jin usually, the answer into Jin is to stack your team full of tanks, but you already have that Wukong in the jungle, so that you can't exactly get away with that unless you're planning on picking a tank mid laner. And although with the way that L9 drafted game 1, nothing would surprise me, that would still probably surprise me. So I think this game actually is shaping up to be a little bit more standard. The Varus, one of the better ADs still in the pool. Already, only into game 2, the AD pool being pinched pretty heavily. We're double banning. Biomatrix is someone that is clearly well respected, and drafting a lot of different things that can get on top of whatever AD carry they decide to pick. There's still a lot of powerful ones that you'd expect. There's the Ashe. But there's a lot of threat on whatever AD you pick with a Wukong and a Blanc mid jungle 2v2.
Yeah, and, double distortion from 5 screens away onto a defenseless Jin can definitely be devastating, and it also just fits in with what Legacy 9 wanted to do in that last game, just finding a few isolated straggling targets. I mean, it was cheesing, doing that quite a bit in particular, as well as Rigor Mortis on the Ambessa, but still, it very much is... Ooh. I've interrupted by a Malphite lock-in. R3 for Synthetic Insanity, because I mean it's been rising in popularity in the jungle.
Can I be honest?
Go ahead, hit us with it.
I love it.
All right, let's go.
I think that's a fantastic pick. You have a LeBlanc in the mid lane. not necessarily known for its tank shredding abilities. You have a Varus, which more often than not nowadays is going poke, and you have a Wukong. I think it's a game that's built for a Malphite, and you're giving yourself a flex pick. You can put this wherever you want to. I think that is probably going to go in the jungle, but I think Gwen should be banned here. I think if they have an AP fighter that can shred through a Malphite, I think that L9 is probably a lot more comfortable. But also you want to get rid of safe peeling supports that can keep this Varus safe to deal damage. I think the Braum is a very important one. The Thresh, same idea. But overall I'm a fan. I think that what they're gonna pick here, it should of course be support to keep that flex pick alive. But it's hard. Usually you'd love to have your support counter pick. Support counter pick is really what decides how a bot lane goes more often than not compared to the ADs. But already banning away too, it feels like they're leaning towards some kind of melee.
Engage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like it
because
has
with the
to be-
Braum and the Thresh, the Leona has a lot
Leona as
easier
well.
time to be able to go in. Yeah, it obviously links up really well with the Deadly Flourish on the Jhin. Jhin really likes playing with those engaged supports to be able to layer on that CC. And also, without the likes of the Braum and the Thresh available, it's a lot easier to be able to find a way in onto the Varus. There's not a lot of supports you can really immediately stop the Zenith Blade in.
Yeah, it feels like that was the one that was the kicker for them going a melee engaged support. Is they're banning away champs that could kind of stop Leona from doing her job. I also think it's a great pick into Varus. You have just a lot of pressure on the back line. And when you have people dashing in towards your AD carry, having a point-and-click CC onto the likes of LeBlanc or Wukong, I think can't be undervalued. And it will be Varus Karma, so a double range, a very aggressive early lane out of L9. Not dissimilar to Misfortune Elise, maybe a little less all the coins in the same basket, a little more versatile of A2 picks, but I think that that's a pretty standard draft from the side of L9.
Yeah, and also you were talking about magic damage fighters to pick into this Malphite, and Mordekaiser will be one of the picks for L9, separating out the Malphite from the rest of the team with the Death Realm will feel good, but Darius getting locked in for Synthetic Insanity, going game one with the Garen, then immediately following it up to Darius, the classic big beefy bros that do a decent amount of damage right in a row, one after the other for Synthetic Insanity.
Batman's my GOAT. I don't care how this game goes. He's awesome. The Garen, okay, didn't work out. But in concept, it was a movie. Now, Darius, I think this pick is kind of built to do a little bit better. Technically, they still can swap. Not that I expect it, but I just have to say it. But I think Darius has a great matchup into Mordekaiser. They kind of do similar jobs where they want to be really aggressive early laners, but Mordekaiser can be punished in those early levels, and Darius is the king of punishing people in his early levels. We'll see if he also decides to go another Ignite game like he did last game. But I think that Darius is kind of built to succeed into the comp that L9 has drafted. I also think that keeping the Malphite in the jungle is correct, both because the Mordekaiser lane sounds scary, but also I don't think there's a jungler that I can think of that really deserves that R5 spot the way the draft has come down. You really want your R5 to be this ace in the hole pick, and I think Darius can be that, and Malphite has found so much success in the jungle lately. Those buffs really have done so well. The only reason his stats were low at first was because everyone was like, I really want to play AP, because when you play Malphite, you really want to play AP, but
yeah.
fair enough. But once people bit the bullet, this champion has been finding ridiculous levels of success, and I think that overall, I think this is a very good draft, and we'll see if L9 with a similar composition that wants to put their pedal to the floor in the early game can do that into a composition that has a lot more early power to combat them than they did in game one.
Let's see if L9 keep things up, as you said, or if Synthetic and Sanity refine their form here in game two. But we're going to send it to the spectator delay, and when we come back, we'll be bringing said game two to you. So don't go anywhere. we don't have any moment to breathe at all here in game 2 because straight away already some action. Tango taking some damage down from Potato Senpai and Cheesing, but not the most sustained damage early on for the Karma and the LeBlanc, so no kills either way. But speaking of Potato Senpai on the LeBlanc, take a look at the summoner spells. No flash on Potato Senpai.
It's a movie. I love it. I think LeBlanc.
Minions
I
spawned.
I would argue LeBlanc is one of those champions that it feels like you don't, but you probably should anyway. I feel like whenever a champion has a dash that either goes a long distance or is on a low cooldown, like Shaco or like Camille, these are champs that you try really hard to take off flash.
Oh, wait.
I think that very few, in my eyes, warrant
Batman.
that success.
Wait, Batman. I mean, I have to take a look at Batman. He's pushing into the wave. Wait. What's Batman doing? Directed cam, please. What is Batman doing over there with the Rigor Mortis, who, if you take a look, had to flash away, or maybe didn't, but chose to flash out of panic?
No, he totally
Either
did.
way.
He totally did.
Either
Darius
way.
level 1 ghosting at you? No, you get out. You,
Flash,
you
yeah,
can't
okay.
stay.
Oh yeah, because Batman popped Ghost too. Yeah.
No.
My gosh, my attention was only on Rigor Mortis there, which is my mistake. Unfortunately, all off camera. Some exciting action at level 1. And we miss already, but I mean, level 1 action all over the place. Potato Senpai doing his best to poke out Tango, maybe not having the best time of it, but distorting and get the extra damage. And meanwhile, in the bot lane, Blush and Qixing also pushing out the bot lane of Synthetic Insanity.
Yeah, that's what we should expect in a range versus range matchup, or a range and range versus range and melee matchup. LeBlanc has to be quite good.
Oh, Tango flashing forward. Wait, solo kill for Tango? Attempted.
Nice, one auto
Not
away.
quite going to get it. She said one auto down. Blush, Biomatrix autoing each other as well. Neither support really in an area to help out those ADCs, so the kills
Right,
aren't
Isaac.
quite dropping just yet. Yeah,
Let's
what is
zoom
it?
back for a second and talk about exactly what Batman was doing there, because Batman goes completely unpunished for that. He forces the flash out of Wukong, which is a great playmaking tool in the early game, for a Ghost on a faster cooldown, but also, frankly, just not as necessary for survival. And he doesn't lose any of his lane pressure to do so. He still was there because Mordekaiser walked him as well. He has a lot of kill pressure. Mordekaiser had to be so worried here.
Pull back, trying to get Batman under tower, not quite getting it in the bleed. The bleed secures first blood for Batman, and the Ignite drops out onto Tango, but the tower shot, no, Potato Senpai distorting a little bit too far forward, so 2 kills immediately go the way of Synthetic Insanity.
Senpai, no! You were doing so well in this lane. You used your Ignite, but you cannot take a tower shot. It's absolutely the only difference from that being a great play for LeBlanc and that being a costly one. It's already after both mid laners have TP'd, so LeBlanc is going to lose a lot here. Her wave is pushing, so she does end up at least... Okay, lane has stayed even enough that you don't lose too many minions. It didn't get to crash into your turret, but that is still not what you want to see out of a composition where you are playing so hard for the early game. You go TP Ignite instead of Flash because you want to put lane pressure, and you just gave Victor a kill 3.5 minutes in.
Yeah, and the extra scaling to Victor, getting his upgraded laser early on, or at least getting closer to it, accelerating it is, feels really good. As soon as you get that upgraded E, you can, clear these waves a lot faster, and how LeBlanc really likes to help out around the map could be completely negated if Tango keeps this up, which it really does look like he's looking to. All right, Tango.
I mean, Victor is already one of those mages that has a lot of early game damage, and now getting a kill already, ooh.
Hell, Matrix having to flash away.
He definitely needed to do that too. But LeBlanc is just going to continue to feel this, and it's not going to get any better. LeBlanc has to play on a nice edge for a while now because of all that extra gold that Victor has.
Yeah, and I mean, that's exactly which one on the side of Synthetic Insanity, completely negating the early aggression that L9 wants to go with, but Rigor Mortis trying to spot out Tango. A little bit too far away, too close to that tower, so Rigor Mortis backs off, but it was a interesting look towards the mid lane. And actually, before we get to that, hold on, before we get to other things, Split Braid trying to find a gank onto Potato Senpai will be hit. Cheese Wheels, all that's needed. I don't think the flash is necessary from Split Braid, but he uses it just in case to secure extra damage if the Cheese Wheel was not enough. In fact, it was, and Feats of Warfare go the way of Synthetic Insanity. 3 kills unanswered.
Yeah, and frankly, this is almost a doomsday scenario. We're already only 6 minutes into the game, but your double range matchup that you're expecting to be hard winning is winning. 20 CS advantage for L9, but the rest of the map is just falling apart. Malphite has 2 camps plus a kill advantage. Darius has a kill advantage, a solo kill at that. Victor has a solo kill and one. It is going so well. And for L9, it's going so poorly, you need something to turn around, and you need to turn around now. Ooh.
Batman flashing for Batman? That's a second tower shot. Batman, what are you doing? Batman, no!
Well, I said they needed something to go well. I didn't exactly see it coming that way, but still, something goes well for L9. They get what they needed. There's a flash forward, but Batman gets minion blocked on his way out. Doesn't even get the kill in return because the flash to escape is there, and they needed something. They got it. L9 continue to find ways to stay in the game, although that one may have found them more than they found it.
Yeah, I mean, you take any sort of advantage you can get. Every outplay, or most outplays, require a misplay from the opponent in some sort of fashion. Definitely standing true with that one. Batman getting a little bit overconfident there in the top lane. Pushing his luck. He was limit testing, all right? You know, in quarterfinals. Well ahead, 3-0. Split Braid, though, pushing into the jungle of L9, looking to get as much as he can. Pressure out Rigor Mortis, but he doesn't have a lot of support here. Will just walk away, however. It's going to take a really long path around, and yeah, all right, hold on. Ignite drops down onto Tango, but the good Gravity Well prevents any further action from Potato Senpai. Flash forward for the win free to try to set up a gank for Split Braid. Not quite coming through, but it is the flash out of Blush with Split Braid nearby. Does have access to the Unstoppable Force.
Yeah, this feels so backwards to game one. They might have to catch you. I don't think they do.
I don't think they do. Not without the wave to really be able to set things up comfortably. So they will back away. Potato Senpai actually going to get hit by Tango. Going to be burning down the ultimate from Tango. Not quite doing a lot of damage early on. Cheesing not going to get hit by the Zenith Blade. And so open for the win free might be in a little bit of trouble. Has no ways to go forward. No ways to go back either. It's Leona is isolated. And Blush will get the second kill for L9.
And again, just what they needed. This time it's on a good timer because the Drake has spawned. It is, frankly, looks like free for the taking, and Varus doesn't even need to walk up to go get it. Just sticking around a little bit too long. They wanted to bit off a little more than they can chew, and this is what happens because now the gold will be just about even, and the Drake is in their favor as well. So L9 making this game close, although to be honest, you still have to be a little bit worried. You have a LeBlanc versus a Victor, where you much prefer to have the Victor in a later game. Mordekaiser and Darius, I don't really know. But you also have a Malphite who is building AP.
Ooh.
You know what? Never mind. I was going to say that they had to win early, but I don't really know how an AP Malphite scales compared to a tank one. So I think they might be okay, but still, they want to continue the momentum they already have.
Yeah, I see what Split Braid might be going for. There's not exactly a lot of physical damage on the side of Legacy 9. Obviously, Blush going for the press the attack could be a pretty solid source of it, but outside of that, Rigor Mortis obviously does a mediocre amount on the Wukong, but not the most like big, insane damage threat. And yeah, the AP Malphite, I guess, if you find Blush, you one-shot the Varus. It's very, very immobile. With all that damage is the idea from Split Braid, but Not exactly the most meta choice. Not recently anyway, but R19 going to send Batman to the Death Realm. The Obliterate lands isolated onto Batman and burning down within the passive of Mordekaiser's second Obliterate. Not quite going to hit the mark, but he doesn't quite need it. Batman gets the heal off the very edge of his Q. So actually, it was looking dire for Batman, but he's all right in the end.
Honestly, it wasn't even the Q heal. It was a moment before that. Mordekaiser not hitting that Q means all the difference. That could have been the kill. It probably was the kill. But he doesn't really have any more chase, and the jungler's there, so he can't chase even if he wanted to, even if he had that flash available, which is still not up for another 10 or so seconds. But that's really important. If this Darius were to die there, it could spell disastrous. But instead, L9 do not find their way onto that pick, and now the game once again kind of sits at a stalemate.
Yeah, but Legacy 9, despite having a few questionable moments after their quick 3-0 lead, still feeling quite alright, especially Tango here in the mid lane. Really running this matchup over Potato Senpai on the LeBlanc, but the Cyclone will be popped, but there's nobody around for Rigor Mortis.
No.
Just going way too far, but it's immediately traded back. We'll be able to get the shutdown for Potato Senpai, but not without giving another kill over to Split Breed.
All right, so many questionable decisions. I don't know why we're going in Rigor Mortis, because Tango was still like 3/4 HP. He was more than okay. And of course, you don't know that Split Breed is in the wings, that he's going to be so close. But you have to assume that someone will be close enough to help out, especially when the Darius has permanent priority in the top lane. So I don't really agree with that decision, especially with Potato being so low that he was not looking like he wanted to help. But then Potato sees his jungler die. He's like, I want to make sure we get something. Looks very aggressive for it. Gets the kill with the Ignite, but immediately falls to Split Breed as well. And the only thing that an AP Malphite needs is
Deadly Flourish isn't quite going to land. Split Breed has arrived, but it's a good catch down onto Cheesing and open for the win free. Split Breed gone a bit too far forward, and the shutdown will go on to Blush. The look for it on Biomatrix, flashing away from the distortion. That's not the only damage LeBlanc has. Follows up, able to secure yet another kill going the way of Legacy 9. They brought kills back, level the gold. Also, sitting about even once again.
I see the idea. I don't think anyone should be dead here.
No, they're
Mordekaiser.
fine. Yeah.
Actually, Mordekaiser.
Wilson, Batman to the Death Realm, and all R19 needs to do is stay alive until Cheesing comes back out. We'll get the shield down. Batman can't go anywhere. R19 securing up that kill, but Potato Senpai getting very low. A few more auto attacks is all Tango needs, but he may have gone a bit too far because Rigor Mortis is here to help his mid laner. Open for the win free, lands his Zenith Blade onto the Monkey King, flashing over the wall to escape Blush. Finally collapsing down. Potato Senpai getting very aggressive on low health. Will get hit by the E, but not without getting the trade back kill onto to Oprah for the win free. And both these teams pushing the limits of this game and a bit too far. They've gone over the line, and we'll trade it 1-for-1.
Isaac, can I be a jerk?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
That looked like a great play if we had Flash. we could get that E, get our damage first, because we know our teammates will be able to follow it up. We don't need to get the kills ourselves, and then either distort back. I think
Chains of Corruption finds way on.
He's dead. He's dead.
Can't even use the unstoppable force, and as you mentioned, Drake is up. No smite available to Syndicates. Synthetic Insanity, wrong organization, both SYN, but still Synthetic Insanity going to be able to, or actually L9. What the hell? Anyway, L9 pick up the Drake on a really good pick on Synthetic Insanity's jungler. Sometimes, my brain, my genius, right? It's almost synthetic, is it? Either way, for the win free, goes for onto Cheesing. The response damage down onto Winfrey, especially without the Eclipse, and the Aftershock is able to not take up too much, and Biomatrix has gone very low. Rigor Mortis going to use himself to try to collapse down onto Biomitrix. Finally gets a kill. The Cyclone is popped. Split Breed going to use Unstoppable Force to land the knockups, and now L9 are on the wrong side of the map, but Blush is still alive, and so a double kill goes into the hands of Blush. But Tango has arrived, looking to drop the damage down onto the Vars, getting slowed, ult popped, can't quite find the kill, and so R19 and Blush take the turret, but the collapse from Batman drones down onto Blush, but it's sent to the death row. It keeps Blush alive for now, will stop the Noxie and Guillotine from dropping, and well, I mean, it looked cool. It looked really cool to save the Varus, but it's not enough in the end as both Blush and R19 are killed.
I don't know if Blush can survive that, just continuing to walk out. I think Victor did have the inside route, but it was a valiant effort, and Blush played that fight, the beginning of that fight, so well. Obviously, making that play for so long, even though Victor didn't have TP, you have to assume that eventually they'll come, so you will probably be getting punished for that. But I like the idea of the initial play. It then very clearly got messy because Split Breed was already back. It goes all the way back, actually, to when Split Breed was picked in the river right before Drake. This is what really started it, what got all of L9 on the bottom side of the map, and gave them the opportunity to even dive that turret in the first place. But Split Breed was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. He was a very stoppable force, frankly, and what ends up happening is because he got picked so early, he's able to get back from base after dying in time to salvage that bot lane dive, and that's really what keeps this game even. And now, an even game, this is
going to push forward. They've sound teaching. Finally, Tango picking up that kill. Rigor Mortis will go in with a Cyclone, but there are no members of L9 to help him out. Biomatrix will secure the kill onto the enemy jungler. Split Breed using the Unstoppable Force onto an isolated LeBlanc, does so much damage on the AP Malphite with the one ability, but only that's ability, but it is enough to be able to make this a 3-0 to the side of Synthetic Insanity, with the Rift Herald alive and ready to be taken.
Flash would have been awesome right there. I'm just gonna say
it's not. You're not wrong. I feel like you said that within the a cooldown timer for Flash, so assuming he did, it would have technically been on cooldown. If
you know what?
Flash. The previous time he needed it, technically.
That means he could have flashed either.
And
not the other one.
You're right. You're right. Okay. I mean,
but still, that is a great fight. L9 is frankly reeling. They do have both the Drakes, so they have some time under their belt to find an advantage, like forcing that Jhin flash, like all the damage that they're gonna have on this Jhin. But there's no objectives up, still a minute left until Drake, so Jhin should be able to get back by that time. But this third Drake is going to spell a lot, just like it was in game one. Both teams are going to be walking their way. There you can already see pings on the mid lane for both these teams to get priority. Victor will have to back. He will get stopped for that back.
Yeah,
actually, Victor has to be
getting snared up. He's trying to do as much damage down onto Potatoes. Senpai. Actually, Tango staying alive. He stays alive for so long and gets the time around. Unstoppable Force does a lot of damage when you've got the AP built onto the Malphite, and so the rest of Synthetic go forward. Potato Senpai trying to find a way in onto Tango. Rigor Mortis securing the kill, but that is all that they will get. Rigor Mortis actually does claim a second onto Split Breed, but there's nothing left for this side of L9 to be able to find R19. Just going to be able to show up and throw little thummies up and, yeah, watch the rest of his team go down.
Okay, first off, Split Breed, that was awesome. But second of all, it was even more awesome than I at least originally thought, because it wasn't just the R. The Flash EW auto was insane. The damage burst that came onto the Varus, I don't think even the Vars was expecting, because there's still Flash. He didn't even flash away. His HP bar just disappeared. Not only does that get his team their first Drake, but I mean,
Oh,
Mordekaiser
wait,
is here. He's
teleports
trying to
are
fight
coming
it.
through. Chi-Sing's healing up with an empowered W, and the collapse goes onto the Jin. He's going to open up the curtain call up really close. Finally, shutdown goes the way of Blush, who already has so many extra kills, but the unstoppable force comes through from Split Breed. Not quite going to hit Blush. Will get the flash out of the Varus, as well as Chi-Sing getting away from Tango and Oprah for the win free. It is a mess here in game 2, or even just a series as well. Potato Senpai going to throw a little Q down onto Batman, picking up that kill, isolated in the bot lane, but Tango's not done. He sees Rigor Mortis, he sees blood, but with Potato Senpai in the area, he will halt that advance.
Oh my god. What did we just watch? First off, okay, Mordekaiser tries to fight for the Drake. He does not get the Drake, so he hits his aura. He somehow nobody dies in Death Realm, both on blinking HP bars, and then Darius gets out while Mordekaiser dies as soon as he comes out of Death Realm. On the other side of the fight, Jin gets caught immediately. LeBlanc just trying to poke out and keep the turret safe. But LeBlanc did do crazy amounts of damage onto the Jin, as did the Varus. The arrow just nuked Jin's HP bar. But lucky for them, Victor is still incredibly strong. 7-2-7 on this Victor. Tango is having a monstrous performance, and now they're fighting for this Otacon. They should be able to get it, because I don't know if they'll be able to contest fast enough.
Burning
Mordekaiser
down,
only
but
just here.
R19 has teleported down. If they can find Split Brain and send to the Death Realm, that will be the way, but Rigor Mortis is dead immediately. The Otacon goes the way of Synthetic Insanity, not without Split Breed going down. R19 in the middle of the mess, sending Oprah for the win free to the Death Realm. Will eventually trade this back around. Obliterate drops, and now Batman will heal up a lot on the Q. Biomatrix accuses a kill onto Potato Senpai. Tango still left alive. He's running out of mana though. Blush is low. Blush is down. R19 doing his best to drop the obliterates, but aren't quite finding the mark. Tango is just too big for L9 to handle, as the ace goes the way of Synthetic Insanity.
That felt like it had no right to go in Synthetic Insanity's favor. Victor is just incredible. Look at his mana bar. He's sitting on next to no mana, less than 100 at one point in that fight. But that's what happens when you have the ring still. You, I think, had blue buff during that fight, as well as the Roa. Just so much to draw from. And actually, this is the first fight that we really see Biomatrix coming online, is able to get so much damage out of that curtain call, and because he was able to stay safe, which he wasn't able to do in the previous 2 fights, he was finally able to clean up. Wukong had already died, and frankly, that was always going to be a good fight, or a bad fight for L9, because Wukong died going for the smite. Does not get the smite, dies before the smite ever goes down, so it shouldn't have been a good fight, but the way that everyone was positioned, it looked bad, but
trouble. Yeah, there's no way where this card to go. Will he try to use the redemption to stay alive? Might actually buy time for Blush to get here. Unstoppable Force drops down, and with Tango also arriving, Blush thinks better of it and backs away.
Now, I don't know even why Split Breed was just why. He was just standing there menacingly. He's just trying to aura farm on the Karma, who has no right to be there, should never be walking in the jungle alone, and immediately gets punished for it. To be fair, you hate to see that there's a lot of champs that you could probably walk away from. Leona is not one of them. She doesn't let you walk. So, locked in place for as long as is needed. They're trying to see if they can give the kill to anybody else, and they can't. But Malphite, more than happy to take it. And now, Malphite, are you allowed to do this?
Yeah, they know Split Breed is here. He is just going to get burned down.
He's not allowed to do this.
AP build. Yeah, he is very squishy. He's not allowed to just walk in. Gets deleted by Blush, who we haven't been able to talk much about in this game, but 9-3-6 on the Varus, keeping L9 within reach of Synthetic Insanity, keeping them within an option in this game. Before the win free, going to have to flash away from said Varus. This Leona's gotten low, is snared up, finally goes down. The curtain call will be opened up, but it does look like on the side, Tango, was he sent to the Death Realm? It does not look like it. That ability was not cast Mordecai still has access to the ultimate, but with Drake spawning and no support on the side of Synthetic and Insanity, L9 looking to try to take their soul port. Drank Tango walking forward onto the Mordekaiser, but may have gone a little bit too far. Potato Senpai, speaking of somebody who may have gone a bit too far, Potato Senpai will just be deleted by Batman, and the Noxian Guillotine sets up a double kill for Batman, but now all the while, Tango in trouble, is collapsed on by R19, pulled back, flashing away towards Biomatrix. The Obliterate doesn't quite have the damage to secure the kill, and now Biomatrix going forward, trying to help out his team. Tango, actually Split Breed going to be the one who secures the kill in the end. And while it's a valiant effort to try to get a kill onto the 8-2 Victor, he's just too big right now.
We just watched a lot happen. So first of all,
and we might see a little bit more because Batman is low, will heal up a little bit, but doesn't have enough to stay alive. Rigor Mortis will pick up that shutdown.
Okay, they should get the Baron here. There's no one in a mile's vicinity to be able to contest. So let me knock on wood before I jinx something. Okay.
No.
Let's rewind.
No, they're not doing that.
Yeah, let's rewind. First, you started to have some hope for L9, because not only did they get the pick on a Malphite, but for some reason, Synthetic Insanity was still sticking around when they totally couldn't, and lost a 5v4 that they deserved to lose, right? We can't be taking 5v4s. We're not near, I mean, we're in a strong gold lead now, but we weren't then nearly enough. But after you get those picks, you don't get any resets. You burned a lot, and then the rest of the fight after respawns goes the way of Synthetic Insanity. Then, all things considered, the rest of the team wins the fight. They get the Baron. Darius, who's still in the bot lane, who has now gotten to the bot lane, just sticks around a little bit too far, because you just know that the entirety of L9 is respawning, has nothing to do, and you are the only one still on the map anywhere a bit close to their base. So, a pretty easy pick for them as he falls to 4, 5, and 9, but he's probably happy with that. But now Victor,
Tango,
so dead.
Potato Senpai distorts forward, but he knows he's dead, so he's going to try to at least trade one back. And now he'll do his best to be able to do so. Won't quite be able to get Potato Senpai out alive. So look is into the mid lane. Breed getting burned down by RN9. The Obliterate not going to hit, but at least hit by the passive to secure the kill. Batman doing his best to try to burn down R19. Doesn't quite have the damage. Blush goes onto a killing speed, and Biomatrix may have not gotten out of the curtain call fast enough. Flashing away from the pullback from R19, but Blush is big. Shutdown again, going the way of Blush, and that is an ace to Legacy 9. It's a messy one that kind of came in two different directions. But signs of life for L9. They're on Soul Point. They're not too far behind. They've got a 13-4 Varus, Colonel. It's within the realm of possibility for them.
Right now is more than that. It is anybody's game. It is absolutely anybody's game right now. They are sitting one Drake away from Soul, and frankly, it felt like it was Synthetic Insanity misplaying more than anything else. First off, crazy play out of Karma to be behind Victor without Victor knowing. I don't know how Victor didn't know. I feel like you can't be pushing that far if you don't have ward coverage. But also, crazy play out of Karma to be there in the first place. But we cannot be taking that fight at a mid lane inhibitor turret after we just lost a man. We did the same thing that we punished the first time around, and the same thing that we got punished from the time before that is fighting when we don't have numbers. We cannot be taking that fight. They take that fight anyway. They get punished for taking that fight anyway. And Varus, who is very slowly, very quietly been getting a ton of gold, is up a significant amount of CS over Biomatrix. Now has a free fight where he's not threatened by Split Breed, because Split Breed is in the Death Realm, where he can just free fire and they get almost a clean ace. They only lose one member in that fight. And I don't know why we're doing it. I'll be honest. I don't know why we're doing it, because now the game feels a lot closer than it should be. And while they're still down in gold, they're not positioned like it is. LeBlanc has to be very quiet. But now they're trying to pull trigger. I don't know if they have the distance to pull trigger on
the
them.
fight. Won't quite get the damage down. Won't find the slows they need to be able to start and fight. Potato Senpai trying to find a way in onto Biomatrix. Instead, will have to hightail it out of there, out of the flank. He spotted out. Will distort the way is all right. And so, LeBlanc is okay, but the Solar Flare drops down onto Blush, will immediately cleanse that away. Potato Senpai jumping to the backline. The Cyclone finds his way onto multiple members. Blush is all right. Auto-attacking way does a ton of damage at this point in time, and R19 in the middle of everybody will to get the chaos that he needs. Blush is getting too far forward, walks straight into Batman, and is immediately killed by the Noxian Guillotine beheaded by Batman. Tango looking to push onto Cheesing, get a little bit more damage, and what looked so promising for L9 has turned to disaster as Tango gets another kill onto Potato Senpai and is pushing into the mid lane. Only Cheesing is left alive, looking to take that inhibitor, but without the Darius, without the Jin, I don't think they're going to be able to end.
Yeah, split call here. I think if you send 3, I don't think there's much that Karma can do, but in playing my own devil's advocate, Wukong is up pretty soon, so if they don't want to play that, they don't want to play that, but they get themselves the Drake, they get themselves a big fight off of the back of some big plays out of Darius, and also some misplays. I think that Varus walked a little bit too far, and gets punished for that fact. He has a lot of their gold lead, but still, the game is close. Because only your second Drake is not anything that you have to be worried about losing if you're at Legacy 9. But the fact that you are down still a significant amount of gold. What is that, 7, almost 8k at this point? That's what you have to be worried about, because the next fight, finding a way to win any fight in the coming future, is a very tall task. There is 20 seconds left until the Baron spawns, so lots to fight over. But you have to keep your eyes on this Varus, who still has Flash, but does not have the cleanse because he had to use it on the Leona R from the last fight. So see if the Varus can stay alive. If the Varus can stay alive between Leona, between Split Breeze ultimate, then maybe L9 still has a chance, but this fight is going to be very, very difficult for them to win. And with Baron now alive, it is all up to Synthetic Insanity how they want to play out this endgame.
Yeah, they will immediately move on to the Baron. They don't have the fastest take in the world, but Tango does shred it quite a bit. They move on to it, and it doesn't actually look like L9 are looking to contest at all. They have Potato Senpai in the bot lane pushing things out there. So yeah, no contest onto the Baron. Instead, they're going to opt to trade it for the bot lane tier 2. Well, not even that. There's no way for Potato Senpai. So free Baron to Synthetic Insanity.
Yeah, and now, I mean, Potato actually has to get out. Should be safe, because you are still a LeBlanc into a Darius. But it seemed like that was a conscious decision. Just about a couple seconds after they started the Baron, it was Potato pinging onto the bottom tier 2 that he was going to try and pressure it. Didn't have enough of a wave to even get that turret. So now, backs are truly against the wall, staring down the barrel of his 7.5k gold deficit. And with Baron buffed minions walking their way in, it is quite the tall task, but it starts by staying safe. LeBlanc could be picked.
Not going to go stay safe at all. Split Bree going to drop the unstoppable force. Potato Senpai really having a rough game too. 11 deaths so far in this one, and Batman flashes forward onto Blush, who flashes away in kind. Won't be able to got too many autos just yet. Now finally dropping the autos down and away, but Batman gets an Oxygen guillotine. Blush caught out. Blush collapsed on, and there's nothing left without the Varus for Legacy 9 to stop the onslaught of Synthetic Insanity. They move into the base, they move on to the Nexus, and game 2 at over 2 kills a minute goes the way of Synthetic Insanity.
We're in for a series, aren't we?
I mean, these two teams, man, they just don't know how not to fight. They see an enemy champion, they're like, yes, death. They're like,
and honestly, I love it. I love it. A fantastic game, back and forth. MVP of that game for me has to be Tango. Just a monster,
yeah, absolutely,
on that Victor. In every fight, winning or losing, Tango was making a difference for his team. and we'll have to keep our eyes on what else Tango can do in the rest of the series. If it even comes close to this Victor performance, you have to feel good for Synthetic Insanity, especially after losing that game 1. You know, whoever won the last game, you kind of always have to give a little bit of advantage to, because they have the momentum. They're feeling good. They're feeling on top of the world. And feeling on top of the world and taking that win while already being the expected favorite, both in this matchup and potentially further in the tournament, I think Synthetic Insanity has to be confident going into Game 3.
Yeah, especially, I mean, Tango made Potato Senpai completely irrelevant in that game. Obviously, you mentioned the Flash a few times, but in general, there was just nothing that this LeBlanc pick was able to do. And so, yeah, with that, Synthetic Insanity, through the chaos, managed to come out on top, brings this series back level at 1. So when we come back, we'll be bringing you Game 3 of this Blue Otter Diamond League quarterfinal. We'll see you in a little bit. And the teams have started up immediately and blasted through draft by the time we could get ready. So immediately bans are Sivir, Udyr, Xin Shao, Jarvan, Nico, and Viego all taken away. And we've got a bit of a nothing ban, but the other picks are Kaisa, Sion, Ashe, and Alistar. We're getting news that it is going to be the Braum for Legacy 9 as the missing pick.
I like Brum. I don't like the Kai'Sa Brum pairing that much. But I like taking it away from Ashe at least. I do like this red side draft a little bit better. I don't know. I think that Ashe is a very powerful AD carry right now. And I like her being paired with the Alistar. I think there's a lot of CC, a lot of playmaking potential. And no matter where that Sion goes, having the likes of a Gwen to be able to shred him in the mid to late games, because Gwen nowadays, as far as I know, is more of a scaler than kind of reverted back to what she originally was. Not that little in between where she was like a heavy lane pick. I think it's a great pick so far. And I would probably prefer red side bot lane over blue side bot lane. But still, we have the solo laners. This is kind of more of what you'd expect, unlike game one, where all the solo laners were picked before we even got into second phase of bans. But this is really what you expect. And now the big question mark is, where do you send your R5 pick? You know, you have the Gwen, which is most likely top, but can flex. Do you keep that flex open and pick yourself a mid laner?
Hear me out.
Or do you leave the R5 for a solo lane and get rid of that flex a little early?
So I'll be a little bit hesitant on saying Kaisa is in the bot lane of L9 because Potato Senpai is a Kaisa mid aficionado. It has flex potential for this one specific player. Maybe because the Braum pairing isn't the greatest, we might be able to be seeing a bit of a classic pick out of Potato Senpai. Thoughts, Colonel?
I hate it. But
okay, well,
but
intrigued.
depending on what this AD is, I could love it. But the problem is, Kaisa wants to be going in. So no matter if that's in a solo lane, if that's in a bot lane, I want a team comp that's built around going in, built around diving. Because Kaisa's really short range, she really can't function if she's not diving. Lucian
Braum. I think it is, Colonel.
You know what?
I think it is. It's Kaisa mid for Potato Senpai. We needed some excitement in this draft considering how the previous two have gone, and L9's bringing it out with just a classic Potato Senpai pick, also rounding out their draft with the Lilia.
I like the Lilia pick. I think you need some AP. I think that as much as I love the idea of having a really spicy mid lane pick, I'm still going to have my same qualms that I had with it before, which is you have to be awesome at Kaisa to make it work when you're not diving with the rest of the team. When it's not 5 members diving in, it's just you diving in, it becomes a lot harder to execute. Yone, a pick that was banned earlier. Obviously, I'm confident that if they were planning this Kaisa flex into the mid lane, they would have banned it if it was a terrible matchup. So, forgive me, I'm not an expert on my Kaisa mid matchups.
Neither am I. So,
but I am confident that Potato Senpai is an expert on these matchups. So we'll see how the Yone does. I think that both in terms of level of standard, as well as in my head what makes the most sense, I have to side with red side draft. But there is so much spice on blue side with a Lucian Braum picked late with a flex Kaisa in the mid lane. There's a lot of potential. I think that, again, L9 really has to get off to the races because you are a decently short range composition, because you have a Lucian Braum lane that offers a lot of priority to the Lilia, who wants to be full clearing, maybe could even counter jungle to some extent. I think that I want to see L9 fight early, as they have in both games, to get themselves a lead, to see if this Kaisa can get off the ground.
Will say with the Yone getting locked in for Synthetic Insanity, it's not really all that much of a Tango mid laner either. He's a really fan of these control mages. We saw it last game for sure on the Victor. He hasn't really played, I mean, this whole season he's played the Victor, the Talia, the Hui, the Rise, all these classic mid lane mage picks. Not much in terms of melee picks at all, though. So even though Yone is definitely seen a decent amount of play just in general in the mid lane, it's one that I'd be interested to see how Tango performs on it, specifically because they don't really opt into it all that often.
Yeah, and I think that not only is it always a question mark of those mage players, as a mage player myself, there's always that can you play the melee matchups, but also if you aren't as comfortable on it, if Yone isn't your bread and butter, then going against a lane you probably haven't played against before can get dicey. It's not that Kaisa is expected to be like a Giga lane bully, although I do expect that she will have a powerful laning phase because AD carries in the mid lane tend to pack more punch level 1 than any mage ever will, or than a melee will, because you are melee, you will get beat down in your early levels by nature. But it will be a tall task to see if Tango can play this to the same standard that his Victor was just earlier in game 2, because there's a lot more question marks around the situation for this game. So we'll see if he can still perform.
Yeah, we'll see if Tango can do that, if Synthetic Insanity can put themselves on match point, or if L9 can outfight their way to match point for themselves. Either way, we'll be seeing that on the other side of this spectator delay. We'll be seeing you on the Rift in just a few short moments.
Not too
are back and loaded onto the Rift once again here in the Blue Otter League Diamond quarterfinals between Legacy 9 and Synthetic Insanity. And, well, we're not going to see any craziness at level 1 this time around. We just got a standard, bit of a normal start, which is kind of expected when you have Braum in the game, unless if the aggressor with the Braum looks to go forward. You can't really do much when Chising's just going to get a few concussive blows down on you.
Yeah, and I think that, honestly, if anyone was going to be the aggressor in this early level, it would be L9. It'd be the Braum team that has the ability to do so. So them deciding not to, I think, is a fine decision. But, of course, all eyes really aren't on this Braum nor this Lucian, as much as most of the time, if you're picking those two champs, it would be. It's definitely on this Kai'Sa in the mid lane. Has gone fleet footwork, which I think makes a lot of sense to give you a little bit of sustain, as well as a Q start. And we're paused.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a bit unfortunate. By the looks of that little preview we saw in the chat, perhaps Tango having a little bit of trouble with connection issues. So a bit unfortunate here at the start of game 3, especially with how just bloody these games have been so far, Colonel. It's been really edge of the seat stuff. I mean, just in game 2 alone, we had over 2 kills per minute in that one. It's just a bit of a highlight of how things have gone in this series.
Yeah, it's awesome. And game 1 actually felt just as exciting. So I can't wait to see what this game entails, especially as the pools start to thin down, because you start getting lanes that are a little more lopsided. Bot lane is one of the few lanes that it doesn't feel true. Both these lanes have a lot of power. Lucian and Braum have a lot of skirmishing power together, but obviously the likes of an Ashe tends to always mean a winning bot lane because of just how much poke she has, how much range she has over any opponent, especially a short range AD carry like Lucian. But as you start to look up, you start to get more and more varying matchups. Obviously, Kai'Sa into Yone, Gwen into a Sion. That Sion ended up staying in the top lane. It didn't rotate into the jungle, as we get the pause after the pause, like usual.
Yep.
But these matchups are actually pretty lopsided. You know, Kai'Sa will be lopsidedly in her favor for the first level 2, maybe 3. Then it will, as the game progresses, be more and more in the 1v1 Yone favored. And on the opposite side, Sion will do fine in the early levels as we get right back into it. But as this game progresses, Gwen will start to shred him. So I think as the pools start to thin, as we get later and later into the series, we can expect even more spicy drafts in the future. But for this game, probably one of our most standard starts so far. Both all lanes trading a little bit. Both junglers are going top to bot. This is all is well in the Rift. Whoa, except for top lane.
Except for the top lane, yeah. Both these health bars getting very low. Batman hitting that level 2 first. Had a few snips in the sweet spot. Feeling quite alright. The double dab on the Vicky's there. You love to see the sportsmanship in the mid lane. But in terms of these solo lanes, as this game goes on, we already mentioned the Gwen as well, but not only the Gwen, but Tango on the Yone. I think it'd be pretty hard to answer on the side of Legacy 9 if they can start like 1-3-1ing in the side lanes for them to really answer out Synthetic Insanity as the 2-3 item marks start to come in.
Well, to be devil's advocate to that, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but to be in defense of the Kai'Sa mid, the difference is, you're right, Gwen is going to be fantastic in the side. Yone will be fantastic in the side. But in draft, I was a little worried about Kai'Sa being able to dive in with a team that's not diving. It's a lot easier to dive in when you're diving in 5v3. So, you're right, they will have a lot of pressure in the side lanes, but it will be up to L9 to pull trigger in the 3-person, 5-person mismatch in what's most likely the mid lane. And look at this early damage out of Kai'Sa. She's doing so well
Good,
early.
yeah.
The CS as well. This is everything that happens.
Uh-oh, but she's not doing well here, Potato Senpai. It's the caster curse for the ages. First blood goes the way of Synthetic and Savage, but Oprah for the win free, going low, going to have to flash away from Rigor Mortis to ensure that he doesn't burn down. And so 1 kill on the side of Synthetic Insanity, but no flashes other than on Batman and Biomatrix for Synthetic Insanity. Straight up to the top lane, Sprint Bread looking to share the love. Now R19 walking away, but only with half his health bar.
All right, you know what? I don't think it's actually as much of a caster curse because I just didn't get to finish the sentence. It was gonna go back to hating on Kai'Sa then. Because this is everything you expect for an ADC in the mid lane. You expect them to have an incredibly powerful early levels, but they're very gank prone. Senpai already used the flash. The E, especially before it becomes invis, does not give you all that much safety. This is the nature of an AD carry in the mid lane. That's why these champions usually are paired with the support, because they kind of need it. And already you can see the difference in trading. Yone with a kill, with the Vamp Sept, will be doing so much more damage. It already feels like the point of power for Kai'Sa mid has came and it's went.
Yeah, and also with the Vamp Scepter in the hands of Tango will allow him to just be able to deny the poke that comes through. But Batman with a nice little sidestep on the Swirl Seed, but the knockup lands its way onto Potato Senpai, the target of Synthetic Insanity. Once again, the snap back means that Oprah for the win for you is the one to pick up that kill, but it's a second death in quick succession for Potato Senpai.
I hate to say I called it, but I called it.
You did call it. You did call it, Corin.
This is the bane of a mid laner's existence. After you already burn your flash, you already burn your TP, and someone comes back. And it's even more of a bane when you are the more gankable mid lane as an AD carry. You will always be the more gankable mid lane. So Kai'Sa gets punished once again, this time by Oprah from the bot lane, just walking her way up, is able to get the kill, which is not ideal, but doesn't really matter because that giant CS advantage that Potato had earned himself has completely eviscerated. Now it's 44-42 with a wave crashing. It's dead even in the mid lane, and it's 1,000 gold advantage for your opponent, and most of it off the back of action in the mid lane. Sion is going to have to use his ultimate all the way to get back up to his lane, so he can't come down the river and save you. And Kai'Sa is now just going to continue to be punished. Volibear still level 5. As soon as Split gets 6, he can dive the mid lane as well. Kai'Sa is in for a world of pain because those early levels did not go her way.
Yeah, and you already had a few glimpses of it earlier on Potato Senpai. Any amount of minuscule damage he gets down onto Tango is immediately healed back up. He cannot take a singular good trade, not because of his own play skill level. He's just not allowed to at the current state of affairs. But speaking of the mid lane, there's a bit of an overload here from the side of Synthetic Insanity to be able to invade out Rigor Mortis, who's denied a few of his camps, and will just have to move straight over to the bot side of the map, hoping to maybe at least get the Drake in response.
See, in this advantage that's been accrued in the mid lane from Yone is starting to bleed into the rest of the map, because now Rigor Mortis, who's usually supposed to be the one snowballing camps, supposed to be getting a lot of advantage. Yone will take a good chunk here if the passive pops, but he doesn't let her.
No.
But Lily is supposed to be getting farm advantage. She can't, but it gives her a timer to go down to this Drake. But she still will be down 2 camps, and Volibear is taking her top side. He can go and collect his top side as well, so this is going to be a bigger advantage than we can already see. And now Yone and Volley will be infinitely more powerful than Kai'Sa and Lilia are at this point in the game.
Yeah, and well, the response from L9, knowing that they're losing that bottom half of the map, is to try to push in, make this a vertical jungle, just ignore the other members of Synthetic Insanity. And so as a response, Insanity themselves going to do something we See, not as often these days, the grubs for the Drake trade going the way of Synthetic Insanity, picking up those grubs, and with how Batman's kind of been doing here in the top lane, being able to push in R19 on the Scion, could be able to use those to get a few extra plates for themselves and get that gold, get the Gwyn online faster.
Yeah, and I think that whether you can do that or not, to me at least, doesn't matter too much. Eventually this Gwen will be online. Eventually she will shred her way through the Scion, shred her way through the Braum, through whoever is unfortunate enough to stand in front of her. But you, frankly, have a great scaling team, and it's continuing to go well. The cleanse trade immediately, I think that's fine. I think both ADCs are happy with an Ash Arrow for cleanse trade, but the
there's
supports
more
are not.
going on. Rigor Mortis gone low, so has Blush. The focus is a little bit split, but the Lilting Lullaby has to be used defensively by Rigor Mortis in the 3v2 fight. While Batman's fine.
Batman's fine. Batman's gonna actually.
Oh, the Fate Seal lands its way onto Potato Senpai, but a little bit too close to the tower. Perhaps a little bit too close to the tower, but he doesn't need it. And Split Breed once forward. Doesn't actually even need to use the ult either. Feats of Warfare go the way of Synthetic Insanity. But Pulverize not quite working out there.
Yeah, if that landed, it would have been deadly. But Volibear decides that even though he has the ultimate, since Potato has the flash, he's going to do something less reactable, and the flash Q gets him there. So he finds the pick, and a third death on the board for Potato. And just as we said before, once that point of power has passed for the Kai'Sa in the mid lane, she becomes very, very punishable. Volley now still has the ultimate, so he can turn off the mid lane tower and dive her once again. The bot lane, though, still able to fight here, but I don't know if you can stay here if you're L9.
Headbutt goes down onto Blush, but Chi-Sing marches forward onto Bio.
Whoa!
Matrix Rigor Mortis is arriving, but not without trading Chi-Sing back. And Blush also gone very low over for the win. We're going to do the best. Headbutt secures the kill, and now Split Breed has arrived to try to save his support. The Sky Splitter drops down on the Rigor Mortis, but not in time, because at the very least is able to get a singular kill back into the hands of the Lilia. But still, Synthetic Insanity feeling really good about things in the early game here.
Yeah, and we just got a glimpse at the mental of L9 there, because even though it's very clear that you cannot continue to get that kill, Rigor Mortis goes forward, effectively kills himself to find that kill just because they are feeling like they need to get something. And that is not a good sign for the mental. Yone has a flash out of the Brahmar as well, and Scion on blinking HP bars from the Gwen needlework, and everywhere you look, it is not in L9's favor.
Yeah, everything has come up Synthetic Insanity. We've had very close back and forth games so far in 1 and 2, but right now the dive coming through. Oprah for the win free. Perhaps getting a little bit too ahead of themselves.
Oh, no.
Decimating Smash lands the knock-up. Lilting Lullaby comes through. Rigor Mortis going to try to run for it as far as possible, setting up Potato Senpai to be able to secure the kill. Shutdown goes the way onto Blush, and now Split Breed will be traded back. And so our signs of life to the side of L9, picking up a 2 for a 3 for 1, actually.
I don't exactly understand the thought process there. We're diving into a Scion. Now we could potentially dive this turret as well.
Oh, yeah, but Batman can go invincible. You know, Gwyn is immune. The concussive blows stacking up. Rigor Mortis takes an extra tower shot. Oh, no! What in the world? Were those executes? One was. I'm going to assume the second one as well, because we didn't see a pop-up alert for the kill down onto Potato Senpai. So no gold goes the way of CB Batman. But, L9. Just, oh, yeah. That was, pushing a little bit too far there.
I don't know if this is BOL Diamond or if this is my solo queue, because those were some solo queue teammate plays. We are juggling turret aggro, but not talking about it. And Kai'Sa takes 2, she walks out of the turret, and she autos back once more, takes another one. So she has to leave. Then Lilia takes it, even though Braum is still full HP in the middle. Dies to it. Kaisa, because she watches that happen, takes another tower shot, and we're all dead. And Gwen has got
on the flank. There's not a lot of damage immediately available to the side of Synthetic Insanity, but Tango has arrived. The Fate Sealed not going to be finding damage. It needs Biometric standing at range. It lands his Enchanted Crystal Arrow onto the Lucian, but immediately cleanses it away. Blush gets the kill, dashes over the wall, has Biomatrix in their sights. Potato Senpai securing that one, and L9 once again taking a favorable fight.
L9 played that fantastic, linking HP bars on 3 different members, but they kite back so well. Yone does not land everything he needed to on the R, while Braum hit everything and then some. It is a fantastic fight in a choke point where Braum can knock up multiple. Slow to continue. Gwen?
Will find Rigor Mortis. Lilting Lullaby drops. Going to use that to escape all the while in the bot lane. Killer Instinct used by Potato Senpai to get away. Rigor Mortis kiting things out. He gets that bonus move seed on the Lilium Split Breed. Going to use the ult. Going to get himself the extra health he needs to get out. Batman getting flashed on by R19, securing the kill onto Batman. And though Batman went down, he does get a lot of time around the map for the rest of his team to get some work done.
Yeah, okay. At first, you'd think that that's kind of the name of the game, right? We talked about Kaisa being a champion that will struggle in the side lane. And that she did, but she actually did really well into Split Breed, forces out the ultimate, takes a tower shot, so that spells his untimely demise. But look at the scoreboard. Volibear is a lot of the gold, a lot of the power on this red side team, and when the rest of your team is in blue side jungle and the Volibear is not there, it gives L9 an opportunity to find themselves a kill, defend their jungle, get a kill, and the gold's a lot more spread out on L9's side than it is for Volibear, who's 4-1-1, half of his team kills are on his shoulder, and he's bot lane. Right? It's not like Tango's there, who has the TP, who's able to get there. Now they can look for another fight.
Swirl Seed not quite hitting Biomatrix, doing their best to collapse onto the Ashe. He did flash away, but as a response, Riptail gets summoned up somewhere. I didn't quite see where that was dropped down. It was off camera. It was by Split Breed, so I'm going to assume probably towards the top lane at some point. But before we get to that, the Fate Sealed hits its way onto Potato Senpai. And that's a very apt name for that ultimate, because Potato Senpai has no chance to survive once it hits.
Absolutely, and that is more of what we'd expect out of a Kaisa in the side lane in the late game. It is so hard to play this 1-3-1. So they don't, I feel like Kaisa just has to go mid at this point. You have to sack a tower, take a fight, and then put Scion wherever you need to defend a turret. Sack one of your outer tier 1s. They are more baits than anything else at this point, because you cannot defend them. You're just dying time and time again, trying to defend them, and giving gold back into the hands of the enemy. Now is 8-9, gold is back to 100 away from each other, and Synthetic Insanity is continuing to have a hold on this game because we're giving opportunities. The Drakes are even, and with a Gwen, with a Yone, there's a lot of scaling on the side of Synthetic Insanity. I don't know if you want to be giving that opportunity if you're Potato. I think you should just get rid of that tier 1 tower that's on a blinking HP bar anyway, and force a fight where you have numbers like you're doing on the top side of the map against Yone.
Trying to force damage onto R19, but the rest of L9 arrives, so he flashes away, but all the while Potato Senpai in the side lanes. It's a similar story throughout this game for this Kaisa. You can't really move into Tango or Batman, and pays the price once again. 7 deaths on the Kaisa.
Yeah, I can't even really talk about it, because I'm going to be a broken record. So instead I'll talk about the top fight. They sent 3 members, which is what you should be doing if you're behind. You should send multiple members to a side and make a play that happens. They're going to do it again, because last time Yone was able to flash away.
Lands the knockup onto Tango. No flash available to the Yone. Fate Sealed will try his best to get him out. Lands the knockup onto 3. But it's just too much for Tango to handle, and the kill will go away on 1-9. But the response is to summon up the turtle in the mid lane, get the first tower down. Second charge will instead be used to drag it elsewhere. I'll go and push their luck in mid on the side of Synthetic Insanity.
He's gonna just use it to hit into Drake. That's awesome. But L9, that's just not a good fight. You are getting, okay, first off, you do that play twice, right? You do it the first time, Yon flashes away. You do it the second time, but it takes so damn long. And in the meantime, the rest of Synthetic Insanity drops the Herald mid, gets a charge on the tower, and now gets the Drake. They're looking for the fight as well, and Braum, I don't know if Braum can escape.
Teleport comes through. Tango doesn't have access to the ultimate, but the headbutt pulverized fights way onto two. Blush going to have to cleanse. Exhaust coming down. And now Blush on full team, Chi seeing low as well. Batman going for it, gets a snip onto the Braum, and it's just too much for the side of L9 to handle. Double kill getting picked up by Batman. Oprah for the win free, not going to mind at all. They got killed, but Biomatrix stepping forward. They saw the blinking health bar. Blush, but the Void Seeker lands, but the Q doesn't. Oh no! Potato Senpai. I like the idea of hitting the W onto the Ash, but you gotta get a little bit closer to be able to actually land the damage from the Acathian Rain. And so once again, Potato Senpai sees the gray screen.
You have to feel for the guy, because that was a great window. You know, it's a decent fight for your team. Not because it looked good at first, but because Synthetic goes a little bit too far and takes 2 turret shots spread between 2 people and gives you extra damage to work with. But Potato not finding that kill, still using the killer instinct, but for no gain and an extra 300 gold into Biomatrix pocket. Doesn't feel great. Actually, I think it was Split Breeds, who is now 5-1-3. The Trinity completed, Sojin's completed. Now they might be looking for another one. I think that's all they kind of need. I don't know if they can defend this tier 1 turret, but actually they can, and both teams focusing down on this bottom side because Otacon is alive. Kai'Sa will get priority in the mid lane, while Gwen will be traveling her way to
Tango
push
might
the
be in
tier 2
trouble.
top.
Lilting Lullaby drops down, but not before the Fate Sealed is used to escape. No ult for the Yone. Meanwhile, Potato Senpai in the mid lane. Continuing story of Potato Senpai on the Kai'Sa. But we move back to the bottom lane. The bot tier 1 pushed in, pushed down,
though.
but it's traded back by Batman. And the tier 2 towers these days you'll give way more gold, and there's not really a window for L9 to move in onto the Otacon, not without trying though. It's a bit weird. Isaac 9 had recalled.
L9 between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
They're in this dance where they cannot start the fight.
For
Now
the win
this
free
fight's
headbutt,
started on
Lo-Fi
them.
drops onto Rigor Mortis. Enchanted Crystal Arrow going to get the stun onto the Lilia. Blush also getting low. The Stormbringer is called on this Lucian. Biometrics getting the kill onto Lilia, and Split Breed as well, getting 1R19 caught in the middle of the entire team of Synthetic Insanity. It's 3 kills for nothing going the way of the Insanity, as well as that extra push that Batman had in the top lane. It has been perfect for them.
Yeah, it was just, you push that tower. You're definitely not strong enough to start up the Otacon, but you have to make a move because Gwen very heads up to realize they don't have TPs available, or they only have the Scion TP available. You win so hard into the Scion, you're now 4-1. So you push the tier 2, you push the inhibitor tower, and force the response. Now, not only is L9 losing their whole base, but that's when Oprah finds the engage anyway, and Yon is still around. They still have damage there. Split Breed goes even further to find the pick onto Lucian, while both Gwen and Scion TP back into the fight. You lost on both sides of the map, and now I don't really know how L9 comes back. Synthetic Insanity has such an advantage on multiple members, and even though it's not as big of a gold lead, it just feels
The
like
way they're going
the
to
map
do it
control is
is to
just heavier.
try to collapse onto Batman. Amino he's trouble, so he goes forward onto Blush. The concussive blows come through. That's a shutdown for Rigor Mortis, going the way of Legacy 9. As you said, when you are this far behind, you have to overload one side of the map, an isolated target, which in this case was Batman. And frankly, there's not exactly a lot for Synthetic Insanity to do to be able to answer it.
Yeah, and it's not gonna just be the pick, they will also get this tier 1 tower. The question is, what can Volibear do here? Because Volibear is walking towards it, but there's multiple members here. Lilia will find him. Can they get this as a pick too?
Going to try to place down Rigor Mortis. Potato Senpai also joining his Lilia. Not going to be able to get over the wall with the Stormbringer canceled by another shutdown. Going the way of Rigor Mortis and L9.
That wall's too big. So instead of jumping over the wall, he jumped in place. That hurts to see. Split Breed definitely wants to get that one back. Gifting over a massive bounty as well. That was a 900 kill gold.
Going to flash forward headbutt. Pulverize trying to set up the Yone. Tango gets the kill onto Blush, but Potato Senpai used the kill engine, gets the back line. Shutdown goes away of the Kai'Sa. Tango getting the lifeline. He needs to stay alive, but the follow from Potato Senpai gets the double kill. The target is now the Alistar. Triple kill for Potato Senpai. He struggled all game, but he might have hit the motor. CB Batman goes back in. He's trying to get the kill onto Senpai, but it's not enough. Quadrant kill for the 9 death Kai'Sa. He gets a huge injection of gold. It's an ace for L9. It's the Drake as well. I don't believe what I'm seeing, Colonel. What in the world? L9, they were out of this, and yet still they find the fight.
What are you seeing? You're seeing a movie. This is awesome. Kai'Sa plays that fantastic, using the killer instinct to chase onto Biomatrix, and then everyone, the calls are all the same. This is one thing that's been impressing me time and time again for Legacy 9 and has been disappointing me from Synthetic Insanity, is the split calls versus calling together. Everyone knows you have to ignore everything but the Yone as soon as that goes down. Potato uses the flash forward to get the final kill onto Tango, and then it's cleanup duty for the Kai'Sa, getting the Quadra. A fantastic play, and now the gold's close to evening, and they can push the aggression.
But the unstoppable onslaught going to miss everyone. Tango comes through, doesn't quite have the ult just yet. Split Breed deletes Blush. And now he's still alive, but Potato Senpai has it alive. He's doing so much damage. He's free hitting down. Finally, Batman finds his way on top of the Kai'Sa. It's a good knock-up from Tango, and the Fate Shield comes through, setting up a beautiful combo for the side of Synthetic Insanity. Batman getting the triple kill. Baron is alive, and they will shred straight through the big purple worm.
So the issue there was they feel like they're in the lead again. They feel like they've gotten a bunch of gold in their pocket, but they started that fight before Potato was there. Potato was close enough that he didn't want to TP, but he was not there when Sion ulted in. Sion face tanks the Asher Arrow while he's unstoppable, and it looks good, but they don't have any damage. Kai'Sa finally gets there and immediately takes 2 kills, but you need that fight to go better. It needs to be clean, because by then there's not enough pressure onto the melee carries, onto the Gwen, onto the Yone, and that way Kai'Sa does not have an escape after she gets those 2 kills. She is a short range AD carry, so they do end up taking the Kai'Sa down, and frankly, as much as we would not have believed it if you said it at level 3, at level 5, but Kai'Sa is the win con. She is a significant amount of this team's damage right now, because Lucian just hasn't gotten off the ground. He's still 3 items, but it doesn't feel like he's getting nearly as much damage in these fights. But Kai'Sa in these last 2 fights has been pumping out damage with her kills, but she has to stay alive to do it. We are double short range AD carries, and it's so hard to walk up to this team fight because they have a Gwen, because they have a Yone, they have these champs that makes it hard and makes it important to respect. The Braum passive is going to mean so much for this team moving forward, but now you're staring down the barrel of a Baron buff once again. You don't have the greatest wave clear, and you need to kind of find a pick once more, because you've lost an inhibitor already. You cannot lose 2, because then you'll just lose the game.
Yeah, and with that inhibitor going down, the focus will probably move elsewhere from Synthetic Insanity. Actually, correction, the inhibitor is still alive, but at some point it will almost inevitably go down. Tango goes forward, Cheesing getting hit by the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, just trying to buy the space that Synthetic Insanity need to move through that second inhibitor tower. Headbutt, Pulverize drop onto Blush, and Cheesing for the similar idea. Redemption will come down to top off these HP bars on the side of Legacy 9. Respond to Redemption from Synthetic Insanity as well, but over for the win free may have gone too far forward. Tango with the Fate Seal finds his way out to multiple inhibitors and onto what they needed. Potato Senpai is still alive. free hitting away onto Biomatrix, securing the kill now onto the Ash, but all the while in the backside of this fight, the CB Batman is very big, but it's a very big decimating smash from R19, getting a lot of damage down onto the Gwyn, who's low, hit by the Void Seeker. This Scion is very tanky. Swirl Seed lands the mark. Gwyn is immune. Void Seeker would have landed. Batman going to get away, but the extra move speed you talked about that Ringo Mortis gets will chase down CB Batman, and it's an ace going the way of Legacy 9. Their backs against the wall, but they find the fight to keep game 3 going.
You corner a dog, that's when they're the most dangerous, because the fight that they got in them will not give up. Fantastic plays. Protato, again, using the killer instinct onto the Ashe. It's actually a difficult comp to be the Ashe in, because the entire rest of your team is diving forward. Alistar starts that fight with a headbutt. Ooh, is Scion caught?
He might be. Okay. R19 is very taking, and Chancer Crystal Arrow finds its way down onto the Braum, but Cheesing will just hop away, so he's fine. Open for the win, free headbutt. Pulverize only finding Cheesing. Blush is here, and Synthetic Insanity will not push any further.
Yeah, you just don't have enough damage there. Yon isn't enough because in order for him to get the damage, he had to E forward, so eventually he'll have to snap back. They don't have enough damage to kill the tanky members. If that was a Kaisa, or if that was Lucian, maybe if that was Lilia, it could have been different. But still, the Drake is absolutely going to Synthetic Insanity. There's no contest necessary. 2 inhibs are down. Kaisa is pushing as far down this top lane as she can to buy time so that she can reset and take a fight with her team. So she's going to run back to base now. If she has an item, she can try and buy. And then they're going to look for a fight trying to defend this 3rd inhib, because losing 3 with the limited amount of void clear that you have is just a death sentence. So Kaisa is here, and now they can hold it as long as they can while that top lane and mid lane still start pushing.
Yeah, the natural push from the super minions will mean that the focus force in the bot lane, but Tango's in trouble. He will get the lifeline passive to be able to shield up and keep himself alive, but shield bow passive not going to be available. He won't get that extra health bar down, now below half HP, but Batman left alone. Batman pushing in, looking for the 3rd inhibitor, will be able to get it on the wrong side of the map. Is actually not going to focus the inhibitor. Litzing Lullaby drops down. Oh my, Tango gets a kill into Protato Senpai on the other side of this fight. Flesh able to trade back the kill. Now finally the inhibitor goes down 1-for-1, but importantly double super minions in every single lane for Synthetic Insanity as they continue on with their push, as they continue on to look to end the game. No Protato Senpai is a very big member not available to L9, but over for the win free. Too far away from the rest of his team. One more on-side is all that's needed. Cheesing gets the kill. Tango going to use the Fate Seal to escape. Opts to try to go back in. Will not be able to find any success on that attempt. And so Tango goes down. They only get the 1 kill onto the Kaisa, but L9, they still manage to hold on for another few moments. As long as the Nexus doesn't go, they're still within this one.
You have to respect the fight at this point. And frankly, we actually haven't really been talking about it, but the longer this game goes, if these inhibitors do respawn, it is a massive advantage to L9, because they've just gotten 2 cannons walking down their mid lane every single wave full of 90 gold each. This is a massive gold influx, and you can see the gold now is only separated by 1,000. And that fight was a 4v4 because it was 2 picks traded quickly on either side, but it was really a 4v3 because Yon was 10 HP by the time that started. I don't know why Yon decided to go back in, but now the Baron gone.
Going the way of Synthetic Insanity, but a big calling completely takes out Biomatrix away from this fight. He's still alive, but the response is to get the kill onto Cheesing. Potato Senpai finds a killer instinct into the back line, but is snipped down by Batman. No more Kaisa, no more Lucian, no more damage and no more chances left for Legacy 9 here in Game 3. They try to push their luck a bit far as they really needed to, but doubled up super minions with the Baron would have been untenable, so it's a valiant effort to try to stop the inevitable from Legacy 9. They do a really good job to hold on as long as they possibly could, but it's just not nearly enough for them as Synthetic Insanity eventually take Game 3.
Yeah, it was actually not a bad look. Lucian Ultimate got so much damage onto Ashe, but a little bit of over-aggression, maybe tunneling a bit too hard, because we sent everything to try and find that Ashe. Killer Instinct as well, and Killer Instinct straight to the waiting arms of Batman. Snip, snip, and there goes half your damage. And that's before you use your engage tool. That's before you use a split braid ultimate, before you use Tango's ultimate. So Tango catches him on the Fate Sealed, and now Lucian's gone. Now you have no more damage. Lilia can only watch as her tank falls and does not have the wave clear to defend the base a third time. But still, valiant defense effort out of L9. And Synthetic Insanity 2-1 up on the series, now on match point to send their way to the semifinals.
Yeah, Synthetic Insanity, as you said, one win away, but despite how advantaged they were in the early game, their closeout wasn't all that clean. Legacy 9 proving a tough match for Synthetic Insanity now with their backs against the walls. We saw what they were able to do in Game 3 when they were under pressure, as they were. Will be in a very similar situation going into Game 4 where they need to pull out a victory to send us to Silver Scrapes. We'll have to wait and see how that one pans out as we send it to a break. We'll see you on the other side of it. are back in for some more Blue Otter League Diamond quarterfinal action, and action is exactly what we've gotten so far. Synthetic Insanity coming up, the benefactor of that last game, finally closing out, albeit in a very ugly fashion. Now Legacy 9 switching back over to the red side, which has had a 100% win rate in this series so far, Colonel.
Yeah, and I think it makes a lot of sense as to why. I think the amount of flex picks that are in the meta right now, as well as how important. I don't believe that. No matter how
they're trolling
important
us. They're trolling us.
that solo lane counter pick is, I think, really makes a difference. I do like, however, if we are on blue side, pick the flex picks, picks the counter pick. Jax is very flexible in both top and jungle. Two powerful laners. I'm a little bit surprised that you're showing a mid lane pick this early, unless there's some shake it up shenanigans that I'm not expecting here. Which, you know what, considering the drafts we've seen, can't put anything past these two teams, right? We really have to expect it. But for all intents and purposes, we have to expect that this is a Corki ADC and Syndra mid. I do like the Caitlyn in response, just heavily outranges the Corki. The Corki has a fantastic first 3 levels in the bot lane, but he is, again, a very, very short range AD carry. So you have to see how much he's able to get out in those later fights, especially with champions on the other side that can pounce on him, like the Jax. Frankly, for L9, it has been 3 short AD carries out of 4 games, I think. It was Yunara, let me think. It was Yunara. Lucian was last game, Corki this game. The only one would be a more standard one with Forest. But clearly something very comfortable with. And also the Bard. I love the Bard pick in this spot. You have Corki, who's W, is not all that good. And Syndra, who is a sitting duck. You have 2 very limited mobility carries. So Bard can put a lot of pressure on them with his ult. But I do love the Mundo in response as well. This is good drafting out of both teams because Caitlyn can struggle sometimes into the tanks. Maybe force her to build some heal cut as well. And again, flexible. This is the power of red side. Reason we've seen red side win most of the games. Until the end of this draft, we have no idea if this is going to be top or if this is going to be jungle. To a lesser extent, Jax as well, but it's blue side. So before anyone has to make any deciding, Rigamortis and L9 will have all the information available for where that Jax is going to go.
Yeah, I will say, though, in advance, it's more than likely probably going to be the hands of split breed in the jungle for Synthetic Insanities, as Batman hasn't played Jax at all so far this season. Meanwhile, Split Breed has 2 games of it, so 2 times they have opted into it, has gone into the jungle, but as you mentioned, there is still some level of flexibility, and I think what kind of keys in onto that is that Synthetic Insanity also continuing to ban out a few more junglers as well, maybe assuming or trying to force this Mundo into a specific role that they want to do.
Yeah, I also think if we're thinking about Batman, it also feels very not top lane Mundo. You know, the same guy that picks Garen with Ignite game 1. I don't know if he's like, yeah, R3 me Mundo. Pick it early, I don't care. Let me take the bad matchup. I feel like with R5, Batman's name is all over that last pick to find whatever can be the most punishing top laner and to play it as aggressively as humanly
just a bit of a
possible.
correction. Batman is the Synthetic Insanity top laner, not the Legacy 9 top laner.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, no, it's all right. It's all right. It happens. I mean, I've had a few names confused in this series as well, so it happens. It happens, and they just move on. It is, however, a little bit more of an R19 pick, as he is a bit of a fan of these tanks. Earlier on, had the likes of the Scion, had the likes of the Cassante earlier, so kind of a bit more within his wheelhouse, and with the Maokai getting locked in would, again, more flexibility, more than likely going to be the support, I would
be.
guess. But still, technically, there is still options for L9 to throw a spanner into the works as Galio gets locked in for Synthetic Insanity.
Well, Galio's also quite flexible. Frankly, I think Galio's at least okay in 3 roles. Probably ideal in 2 of them. But I like the pick to an extent. But I am a little bit worried about the damage unless you have something that you're
Okay, see, this is a Batman pick. Right?
You know what?
This is a Batman pick.
Fair enough. And a lot more pressure. You have the Bard, you have the Olaf, both heavily pressuring these backline low mobility carries. I love it. That was something that was on the ban table earlier this series. They're not.
No, right? Nah. Okay, right. There we go. Okay.
We're not locking it down.
I mean, you never know with how L9's been playing this series so far. It definitely didn't seem outside the realm of possibility. Throw that support, throw back to it's like it's 2022. But no, the Aatrox will be the lock-in for Legacy 9, one that has actually been seeing a rise of popularity in the jungle ever since that patch in which Riot buffed a bunch of the clears of a few of pretty common top lane champions.
Yeah, it was all this effort to make it less punishing when you have someone autofilled, and jungle is the autofill role right now. But it has done a number on the competitive scene. So much flexibility in drafts, so many new potent picks. Some of those top laners have some of the fastest clears in the game. I saw an orange clear so fast. It's unbelievable what some of these top laners can do. So I do like the changes. It leads to some very exciting games. But looking at the overall compositions, I have to say, I don't know if I have confidence in Aatrox and Mundo to do enough work that it's okay that your backline will probably die between Bardar or Olafar. One of them is going to catch them. Maybe both of them. And it's really hard for a Syndra to survive that. It's really hard for a Corki to survive that unless there's so much in the lead that they can just burst the Olaf when he shows up. So a lot of, I guess, onus has to be on the Mundo or the Aatrox to do the same amount of threatening back to get this Caitlyn wiped off the face of the planet, to have the damage to punch your way through a Galio or a Jax or even an Olaf to save your backline carries if that's the threat. And it will be a tall task for L9 to be able to even match the amount of pressure that they have on their backline carries.
Yeah, the Olaf, as soon as you pops Ragnarok, and one of the ways Syndra does really well, is the fact that she can keep anyone running at her at arm's length, with the exception of the Olaf, who just presses R, gets the Ragnarok, says no to any sort of CC, and is able to run down a really immobile mage. So I definitely see high value coming through for Batman on the Olaf to be able to threaten particularly Syndra, because at the very least, Corki can Valkyrie away. He does have a dash. He does have a flash in his kit, and can still get that little extra distance perhaps. But yeah, I think the target will be on Potato Senpai, as it has been these last 2 games. Really from Synthetic Insanity, they've put a ton of pressure on this mid laner for L9. It has worked out for them in the 2 games that they've done it as well, and I gotta figure that it will probably be the same so far. At least the plan will be the same once again going into game 4. But I think with that, we're going to send it to the spectator delay. When we come back, we're going to see whether or not Synthetic Insanity can close it out, or if L9 queues up the Silver Scrapes. Either way, we'll see you on the other side of this break. And we go once again here in Game 4 for some Blue Otter Diamond League action. Synthetic Insanity looking to close things out. And this time, Batman on the Olaf is where our eyes are all turned to, because he's just this. He is the guy on these aggressive top lane picks.
Yeah, and has the Flash and the Ghost, which is to be expected. The Olaf with the Ghost can just be so powerful. Now gonna fight for that ward. We'll take the Electrocute proc on the way out. Won't have time to reset, so that'll be damage that does stick. But knowledge gained. He's still gonna reset. He will be late. Yeah, no, he can't do that. But knowledge gained about where Jax is going. Although, frankly, after 4 games, it should be no surprise that both these junglers are pathing top to bottom, as has been true and will continue to be true. So keep your eyes at that 3:30-minute mark to see what Caitlyn and Bard versus Gorky Maokai can do. I'd have to expect that Caitlyn will be the one more gankable, because there's no way Caitlyn doesn't get a push in this lane.
Yeah, that is exactly what Caitlyn is made for, with all that range, all that extra pressure she gets from being able to auto attack from a distance, from safety. It is so impactful, especially in these early levels, especially into the likes of Blush on the Corki, who frankly doesn't exactly have all that much range, and immediately pushed back under their tower. The health bar is just getting chipped away by Oprah for the Winfrey and Biomatrix.
Yeah, a lot of damage so far. What's crazy to me is the plate damage. That is almost 3/4 of the first plate going down already. And the amount of pressure is ridiculous, but also take a look at Split Breed. Potentially with the 3 camp in the game.
Senpai, the flash forward, gets the counter strike, stun, and now Potato Senpai will go down. First blood going over to Split Breed.
You said it in draft, and I'll say it again. This team has consistently been looking at Potato to try and put pressure on this mid lane. A 3 camp, well, double flash forward, so aggressive to punish the Syndra in a matchup that Syndra is supposed to be winning, but not something that she's hard stomping, not something where you expect there to be tons of action brought over. But again, just like in the previous 3 games, so much pressure being put on this mid lane, and Tango coming out on top.
Yeah, and it's sacrificed a little bit of tempo for Split Breed, but all the while Tango getting snapped.
Split Breed is here!
But Split Breed collapses onto Rigor Mortis. The early gank from the Dr. Mundo not working out. Jax with 2 early kills now. He sacrificed some tempo to get that first kill, but he gets rewarded once again. Never punished. R19 now in trouble. Batman picking up his axes, dealing damage down onto the Aatrox, having to flash away as well. Synthetic Insanity once again come out big in the early game.
Jax lost a little bit of tempo, but I think he should be able to get this Scuttle Crab as well, because even though Syndra's there first, Galio's here off of reset, so he has more items at his disposal. He has the extra Amp Tomb of damage, and yes, now Jax is going to be ridiculously strong. He's going to greed, and he will recycle his camps without stopping for items, but when he's done, and he gets his reset, he will be ridiculously powerful. He'll have 2 full clears and 2 kills under his belt.
The Tango within the sights of G-Sing. No flash on the Galio means he's going to try the Justice Punch forward and does his best to actually trade a kill back onto Potato Senpai, and they do! Oprah for the Winfrey arriving late from the bot lane is able to make it a 1-for-1 in the mid and gets the feats of warfare to Synthetic Insanity.
Again, even more pressure in the mid lane. This time around, it's Bard who's there to punish the aggression, and the extra Amp Tome made the difference. Tango had just enough damage there to kill the Syndra before he went down himself. So another kill going over to the side. of Synthetic, and another death to the side of Potato. Once again, similar story to last game. A lot of pressure in this mid lane, and now
He's going to be stunned up, but will twist advance forward onto
Corky
Biomatrix. The
damage.
Valkyrie burns down the Caitlyn, who's too far forward. The range is what Caitlyn's strength is, but when you get in close, she's in a ton of trouble. And that will be a kill traded back to the side of Legacy 9 in the 2v2. G-Sing playing fairly aggressive themselves early on.
Yeah, and you called it. It was sitting on top of that Valkyrie, but also that is Corky's bread and butter. Those first couple levels before Caitlyn has any real extra damage. Corky has some of the highest base damage in the bot lane out of the 80 carries available, and it was just bread and butter, exactly what this bot lane's meant to do. He didn't need to burn flash to get that close. Caitlyn just walked too close. He didn't even need to burn barrier because there was no pressure on him.
Yeah, and all the while, G-Sing
Look at that
showing
ward.
up in the top lane.
Do you see that ward?
That
is a
is-
fantastic top lane ward. Maokai support Roma to try and get an early gank onto Batman, but Batman just heads up play, and now Maokai stopped his reset. Maokai wants this,
But
doesn't
Split
know that
Breed
they have the
and
information.
before
It's a
the
3v2.
Winfrey are collapsing down, but he says it's a 3-2. Rigor Mortis doing his best to arrive. The flash forward,
The
counter
4v3
strike stun,
Galio.
gets the kill onto R19, and with the hero's entrance, it has made things go the way of Synthetic Insanity with the extra numbers 5-2 in terms of kills. For Synthetic Insanity, looking to close things out here to make sure they don't have to see Silver Scrapes or hear it more likely. They are up 1k gold in 7.5 minutes.
You're right. I said it was a 3v2. It was actually a 4v3 because Mundo was there, but so was Galio. And Bard back in the mid lane. Syndra cannot catch a break.
Potato Senpai does have flash up now, but he won't be able to use it before the kills comes through, as another one getting picked up by Tango.
Right now, Synthetic Insanity firing on all cylinders, and they have the comp that I would probably give a little bit of an advantage to in the late game because of how much pressure they have in the backline, but it doesn't matter if you have the lead. And now, Olaf looking
Goes Batman's
aggressive.
pop. Ragnarok, he wants the solo kill onto R19, getting the resets on the axis,
He's got
throwing
it.
them down. Batman gets a solo kill onto R19.
Everywhere you look, Synthetic Insanity is winning. It is not even close so far. This is the biggest gold lead at 8 minutes that we've had so far in this series. 2,000 gold. The Drake not yet claimed, but the Grubs, which I think if you have this early of a lead, are probably going to be more powerful to snowball it. You can get yourself plates using the Grub damage. You can get extra gold in your pocket. Now,
And over
Potentially
for
looking
the
on a
Winfrey,
bar.
could be in a bit of trouble. Will use the magical journey to get out.
No mana.
Will
Yes,
do
no mana.
so successfully. G-Sing now steps on the trap, and it's a good ult from the bar to ensure Blush doesn't come through. Biomatrix going to use the barrier flash over the wall from Blush
He
to
dies
be able
for
to
it,
trade
though.
a kill back, but surely he's going to die. Rigor Mortis now stepping forward. Biomatrix a target. Actually, Blush not going down like you had predicted. Rigor Mortis as well, going to be able to pick up a few kills for himself. Starting to get to be able to stack up the health on this Dr. Mundo. So there is a little bit in it for Legacy 9, cutting down that gold deficit by about 500 gold.
L9 are like Krugs. They may be broken, they may be beaten, and they may be split into pieces, but they are still fighting, finding the pick, flashing under the turret. Corky finds the kill onto Bard, and Rigor Mortis is able to clean up Caitlyn underneath that tower. Now you have a point of strength. Corky got so much gold from that even though the rest of the map is falling apart, you still have some strength. You're losing a lot of plates here, you're losing a lot of a wave here, but at least you have some kind of angle you can play. You can play around this Corky, and he has a lot of damage. Bard has to respect it.
Oh, it's a good cosmic binding onto Tango. Not going to push forward, not going to try to extend their luck a bit more. They had Split Breed closing down in on that fight. just back out on it because now the focus is Potato Senpai. Ragnarok popped, going to flash over the wall, but the follow up goes the way of Batman while Rigor Mortis getting invaded his own jungle. Splitbreed gets a kill in the bot lane too. Blush is killed. It's 3 to the side of Synthetic Insanity, going unanswered by L9.
It not only is it 3 dead on the side of L9, but it's not a fight that got us there. It is 3 different places on the map simultaneously going wrong for L9, and one of them was that point of strength. It was the Quirky that fell, just staying alone in the bot lane while the rest of his team is not there, in a lane that's not safe anymore. And the jungler dies as well. He's also someone who got gold from that previous play, so all those advantages are so short-lived for L9, as now even more of an advantage being accrued for Synthetic Insanity.
Yeah, picking up the entire first tower in the bot lane. Going to give them a big injection of gold, and now Batman will have the Nature's Grasp targeted onto him. Doesn't have the Ragnarok just yet, so he cannot deny the CC over for the Winfrey, arriving to try to help out his Olaf, but the turn is onto the Bard. Tempered Fate going to drop, going to be used defensively to try to keep over for the Winfrey alive a little bit longer for Teleport to come through. First kill goes away of R19, but Blush may have pushed up a little bit too far because Splitbreed goes forward, gets the leap strike and the counter strike kill onto Blush, and the key members of Synthetic Insanity are still alive. Splitbreed is healthy. He's going to be slowed down a little bit by the Scatter of the Week, stunned by Potato Senpai, but is Synthetic Insanity get everything that they showed up for in the top lane.
Wow, that felt like the one window that L9 could have had to look for an advantage. They get the 1 kill. Aatrox is able to take down Bard, but the cleanup crew, just being Splitbreed, the cleanup crew showed up and cleaned up. And now the Jax is sitting 6-0-1, a 600 gold bounty over his head. And the teams are 4,000 gold apart, and we're not even 15 minutes into this game.
Yeah, it's been the most one-sided affair I think we've seen so far, and it's pretty crazy considering that just a few games ago, or actually just last game, we had a 9-death Kaisa pretty early on, but now once again Biomatrix going to get collapsed on, going to flash away from that, so at the very least, no flash on the Caitlyn for the side of Synthetic Insanity, a potential, albeit very small, point of pressure going the way of L9.
Yeah, I will have to see how much that actually matters. They still have about 40 seconds left until the Drake spawns. I'm not sure if this is one they want to contest. I think this is a great opportunity not to contest it because you already have a Drake and you add a significant gold disadvantage. I think this is one that you could give up, but if they decide not to, then there are some points of power that you can exploit. You can exploit that Caitlyn has 0 sums right now. You can exploit that Jack should not have flash either because he just made a play with it last fight, and Corky does have his flash. That Mundo has his ghost. You have these summoner spells that you can use to your disposal, but Corky's already taken a lot of damage. I don't know if this is something that they even want.
It almost certainly shouldn't be. They're a bit too far behind to really be able to contest this instead. They're probably going to look to be able to get some chip damage down onto the mid lane tower, but all the while the Drake is going down. Batman pushing forward onto R19, pushing into the jungle of L9, while L9 look to collapse onto the Olaf. He does have the Ragnarok, does pop it, looks to go forward onto Blush. There's no CC that lands onto the Olaf. Tempered Fate will drop onto R19. Over for the Winfrey in a bit of trouble. Will use the magical journey to escape. Blush getting that kill on the bottom side of the map. We can't quite see it. And all the while, Splitbreed is godlike. Splitbreed finally arriving to this fight. He's huge on this Jackson. Needs just one more auto attack. Gets the kill onto R19. Gets the stun onto the Syndra. Tango finishing off that kill. Rigor Mortis is big. Will pop the maximum dosage to get the health back available to him. Can walk forward. Can Mundo go wherever he pleases. Not with Biomatrix showing up with the extra range and the damage on the Caitlyn. And so instead, he backs away. Not going to look for anything more.
Wow, that fight was so close. There was so many places where you thought maybe L9 had a chance, but the Galio out of Tango was ridiculous. Bard portals his way out. He's the only one left, but the Galio hits 4 from where Bard was before the portal, so he is able to re-engage a fight that looked bad, stall time for Split Breed to arrive. Now
Oprah for the win.
I don't know if Corky's in trouble, actually. I think it's Bard who should not have done that.
Yeah, that was a very odd pathing choice from Oprah for the win free. You know, a bit overconfident with how this early game has gone, considering Synthetic Insanity are up 6k gold as a team. So I mean, I guess you're allowed to have one int moment when you are this far ahead. At the very least,
Isaac, if I'm being honest, I think they have room for a couple more with the gold lead that they have. This is a massive gold advantage to have.
But you don't want Biomatrix going down. Tipper Fate works out defensively, but the Ignite is going down. It's taking on to the Caitlyn, but she's alive. Biomatrix lives. Biomatrix is still out there. And so the collapse response from Synthetic Insanity is successful. Oh my goodness, that just feels really bad. I mean, that feels awful because it looked so promising that you found Biomatrix too far forward that maybe, just maybe, you could punish the overconfidence, you could punish the hubris that Synthetic Insanity have, but it just comes up shy for L9.
Yeah, it was so close. Not only did they miss out on the initial, but Potato actually missed the scatter to scatter on one that would have claimed the kill as well. So just insult to injury. And now, wow, Bard takes a lot of damage. He's not the tanky Bard of old. And he's Electrocute Bard who does get quarter HP'd by a Syndra combo. Who, even though Syndra is 0 and 5, still feels like she packs a punch. Does have a good CS advantage over the Galio. So if they are able to continue to keep this game going at a snail's pace, then Syndra can start to be something that you look at when a Jax is diving in or when an Olaf is diving in to be able to blow them up immediately. But she needs a lot of help to get there. She does so little damage to any of the tankier members. Galio, having his passive shield, is just so hard to chew through, and I don't know if it's ever going to mean anything to Jax. She needs time to get there. Corky has a lot of strength. He's closing in on completing that tier. So if you're going to have hope, it's coming out of there, but Bard looking for a play.
Perhaps a bit too aggressive from Oprah for the win free on the wrong side of this wall. But he has his teammate in support. G-Sing's gone low, will pop his redemption to heal himself up, but the focus now is R19 getting targeted by Split Breed, taking him down to half HP. Oprah for the win free, going to use the magical journey to try to join his mid and jungle, or top and jungle, sorry. And won't look for anything else, but the Rift Herald is summoned in a really odd position. I mean, again, a small little funny moment from Synthetic Insanity. They won't be able to use the Rift Herald for its charge to be able to crack open any more turrets. Bush, Valkyrieing forward onto Open for the win free. Not going to find the damage. Magical Journey will be there to get for the win free out and safe.
I'm sure that Rift Herald was expected to be a red trinket. It's the only thing that makes sense for that to be dropped where it was. But regardless, that's a big win. If you are L9, that Rift Herald was completely wasted. It's an objective that doesn't amount in much. So if you can continue to stem the bleeding and play slow, or you know what,
the collapse is tried to look onto Biomatrix, but Split Breed is waiting in the wings to take down Potato Senpai. Split Breed is legendary, 10-0-2 on the Jax.
As I was saying, if we can slow down the game and not die, then that looks good for L9. Instead, we look for a pick. We don't have any right to look for a pick. Our Corky is sitting on 0 mana, and he is our only damage right now. So, bad window for us to choose. And not only does that give over a kill, but it also gives over the Drake. His only second Drake of the game for Synthetic Insanity. So, we take what we can get, right? Beggars can't be choosers. That is about the only positive way you could look at that. But, again, the longer this game goes, the more Mundo gets to scale, the more Syndra gets to scale, the more you have a chance. So, you have to just hope that they get the gold and hope that you can execute better in the late game team fights if you get there. 7k gold separates these two teams. If you can shrink that even ever so slightly and get a 40-minute game, all of a sudden, you might have a shot.
Yeah, but I mean, Legacy 9, they have the what is it, Hillsong copy pasta mentality of if it's even, we need to fight to be able to create a lead. And if we have a lead, we need to fight to grow the lead. If we're behind, we need to fight to try to
Shrink the lead.
to shrink the deficit. And if we're further behind, we need to fight so otherwise the game just ends and we lose. And or whatever that's paraphrasing it, but you know the one thing, the classic.
Yeah, it is definitely the mantra that we are saying right now, because it is fight after fight after fight on varying amounts of good and bad conditions.
Yeah,
and now they
PC,
might
the
be
target
caught.
for Synthetic Insanity. They want to collapse onto this Maokai support, but speaking of collapsing,
catch on the other
Potato
side.
Senpai is in trouble. That's a full AP Galio moving its way onto the center. Flash forward secures the kill onto Potato Senpai. Ragnarok will be popped. They're not going to get too much value out of it. Hero's entrance only going to be able to separate L9 from the rest of Synthetic Insanity.
You know what? I have to give Batman a lot of credit, because one thing you need to learn. One thing you need to learn as Olaf is not just when to go in, but is when to go out. And he popped Ragnarok and realized this is absolutely not the time, and he ran his way straight away. They do end up using two
He's
ultimates.
going to
and a
flash
catch!
forward onto Oprah for the win free. Does have the magical journey to escape, but has gone very low. The Otacon has been started up. It's a taunt onto 4 members, but it's a bit separated from the members of Synthetic Insanity, but it's not. It's disjointed the attack from Legacy 9, and so that gives Synthetic Insanity the window they need to close back down away from the Otacon to secure 4 kills into their hands on top of that big neutral objective, giving them even more combat power, 24-7 and a 11k gold advantage to the side of Synthetic Insanity. It's looking untenable, Colonel.
Isaac, you said it so well. It was just looking back and forth, no call to be made, and every call to be doing at the same time, and they end up getting nothing. It is a fight on multiple fronts. Half want to chase up towards the Otacon, half want to chase the Galio, and one was starting to turn around to go after the Bard who was coming back into the fight, and they all die. That is hard to watch. Because that was a good opportunity. We watch as Ragnarok and as Grand Entrance or Hero's Entrance both are used, and we think we have a window, but just Bard Galio playing stall duty while the objective was going down, and then the cavalry arrives, and the fight that looked like it could have been good, all of a sudden L9 are eviscerated in the top river, and now the gold lead has crested 10k. Now it feels so impossible for L9 to have any hold in this game. They're standing under a tier 1 turret. This could be their only window to find a
try to find Tango. Everyone on L9 gets the shutdown, going to R19. So they will, at the very least, get some gold for themselves. Going to pick up an objective bounty as well. So small injection of cash for L9. At the very least, are fighting. They won't go down without kicking and screaming, but it's a little bit different from Game 3, where they're so far back now. The recalls have come through. Tempered Fate not going to land onto anybody. Batman getting slowed up. Biomatrix potentially collapsible. Will eventually get the help of Splitbreed to be able to escape.
You know, I said it once, I'll say it again. These outer turrets are not worth holding. I know it's standing gold for your opponent, but they are baits more often than not, and that's a bait that they fall for now. Oh, potentially.
For the win free, Gone Low does have access to the magical journey. Blush going to get slowed up, so Ragnarok is popped in response. Immediately, Blush is deleted, cheesing the next target. Will be able to knock the Jax and the Olaf away to be able to escape. But getting rid of the Corki off the map, it's the only semi amount of damage that L9 have available to them. And with the Drake spawning up, Synthetic Insanity moves straight to the Dragon Pit.
Yeah, and it may not be Soul, but it is Soul Point, and Baron has spawned as well. Corki's still dead, and it looks like they may start both.
Ooh.
They're setting up Kate traps as if they are planning on starting it. Jax, they may be just waiting for Jax to come here, and they will be starting it. This is a little bit greedy, because Jax is not there, and they know Jax is not there.
They also see Rigor Mortis in the mid lane, so they know that the smite
They've taken a lot of damage
quite there
too.
available to them. Baron now down at 3k HP. Nature's Grasp will come through, open for the Winfrey, going to go down immediately. The Grasp finds its way onto Tango and Split Breed, going to try to get away with the Rocket Belt, but he's not long for this world. R19 gets his kill onto Tango. Split Breed stuck on the wall, will Leap Strike onto his own ward, but the rest of L9 collapse. They're over 10k gold down, Colonel, but they find a fight. Only 2 Barons are left on the map for Synthetic Insanity, so the Baron buff going to go in the hands of Synthetic Insanity. Batman going to continue pushing. Batman going to look to at least get back a tier 2 turret. But L9 when backs against their wall, when they're in trouble. There is the rotation. Prosado Tinpai has arrived. Ragnarok going to be popped immediately, running down at the Syndra, knowing he can't be stopped by the CC. One more Artok is what he needs to get the kill, but a shutdown goes into the hands of Blush, and L9, they're still alive. They're still fighting despite their massive gold deficit.
This is unreal. This is unreal. First off, just as an aside, it's unreal that Olaf is allowed to do that, and he still gets the kill on the Syndra. But it's still a fantastic fight for L9. Sending your jungler to get the soul point, not the soul point, while the rest of your team does the Baron is the exact opposite of how that should be. One of your damage dealers should do the Drake, because the Drake is less important, is only 1, and it's not even soul. But they take so much damage. The enemy team knows that you're doing it because they watch Jax walking up through bot river into top, and they're completely punished. Bard is caught before the Maokai ult even catches him, so that the rest of the team is caught as well as 3 picks, 3 bounties, and then they get a 4th bounty on Olaf. That's a ton of gold being sent, and now there is a win condition. You have a place that you can stand. Corki is strong. He's 2.5
He's going to
items.
have to flash away
No
from
flash
the
is hard.
Tempered Fate, though, and that, with how short-ranged Blush is on the Corki, not having a flash could be a big decisive moment in the next fight. The target is Rigor Mortis by Split Breed. Doesn't do a lot of damage onto the Mundo, who is, as you mentioned, scaling up. The Mundo does eventually get really big the longer the game goes on. Slowly arriving to that point. It's still a long way away, though, especially with the advantages that Synthetic and Insanity still have for themselves. Despite that one big blunder around the Baron, they're still well and truly in the lead of this game. But can they break open the base of Legacy 9? Can they make them fin? Can they make L9 break? But the Twisted Advance comes through. Split Breed going to hop away, and the flashes are coming through. Timber's Fate going to charge out Split Breed. Biomatrix in trouble, but he's got the range, and it's actually a bit of a split call. One side going on to Split Breed, the other side going in onto Biomatrix, and so the damage isn't enough onto either target, and the rest of Synthetic Insanity arrive. They push forward. Biomatrix gone low, shut down onto the Ashe, onto the Caitlyn, gone to the Corki, and now Batman has gone too far forward. No more Ragnarok available. It has expired. Double kill onto Blush. And once again, Legacy 9 hold on a little bit longer.
Legacy 9 started that fight without the Aatrox, and I was going to say that I disliked that, but Olaf isn't there as well, and one of the big points of pressure that is being put on Legacy 9 is Olaf plus Jax plus Galio threatening their backline, and without that threat on their backline, Corki, even though he takes a good amount of damage, he's relatively untouched in the second half of that fight. The tier 3 turret goes down, and Corki is completely safe. And even though they continue to chase, if the chase isn't on Corki, it's not good. So Corki's able to clean it up, and once again, Legacy 9 continue to stay fighting. This is the smallest that the gold lead has been. Even though an inhibitor turret is cracked, the inhibitor has still not gone down, so there's no macro pressure being applied to L9. And now with 14 seconds left until this break, they have a decent shot to try and contest this soul point.
It will be a very tough way to contest, especially from red side moving on to the Drake.
They just not contesting.
They're just not going to give it. It is the Kim Tech Soul. It is generally agreed upon one of the not so great souls in the game. However, for the side of Synthetic Insanity, you gotta feel in terms of value, the Olaf and the Jax get a decent amount from it.
Yeah, I think if there's ever a team comp to not let that happen, an Olaf team comp is that team comp. Either way, I think that was about your best opportunity to, because from this point on, I think you have to expect an inhibitor will go
Grasp
down.
comes forward, Tempered Fate finding its way onto anybody, Cosmic Fighting and hitting its way onto Potato Senpai, but there isn't really a way for Synthetic Insanity to go forward. Cheesing going to be deleted immediately. The Twisted Advance not working out in their favor. CC down and blown up with no members of L9 to be able to help out. They'll be down a support while they make their last stand, their final defense here in the series, in what could be their season.
They don't have a wave.
Finds its way on to 2. The inhibitors are 2 down. The top one is open. Could be moved on straight over 2. There's no assistance from the tower to be able to save this. And moving over, they should be able to get this pretty comfortably. All the inhibitors down. Scatterweek finds its way onto Oprah for the win free. Blown up by the unleashed power by Potato Senpai. At the very least, get some gold for themselves onto the Syndra. But with all 3 inhibitors down and Baron up, Potato Senpai flashing away from Batman, using the extra wall, using the terrain to escape the Olaf. Cheesing going to drop some CC. They're going to go a chase on for the Olaf. They will probably get the kill at the end of the day, popping the Ragnarok, trying to find Blush, getting the flash out of the Corki. Finally, certainly he goes, is he dead? Oh my god, he gets Blush before dying. He's still alive. He's still standing. Finally, Cheesy gets the kill onto Batman, but it buys so much time for the rest of Synthetic Insanity to recall and not take Baron.
Corki has to turn around and auto there. And auto plus your E the whole time at, what, level 16? Would have been enough to kill him. I am so confident. But if you gotta let him chase you, he will always win. He is the champ that chases the champs that chase you. So, don't necessarily agree with that decision there, but a 1-for-1 trade usually benefits the weaker team. But in this case, with Baron on the table and no way to contest it, your strongest member still 5 seconds from spawning is not worthwhile.
Flashing over, going to be deleted immediately. Tried using the spellbook smite to be able to steal it away. It was a crazy attempt, a valiant one, but with Baron on the map in the hands of Synthetic Insanity. Once again, Legacy 9, they had their backs against the wall a few moments ago. They somehow managed to survive it, but Synthetic Insanity are coming back with an even bigger punch. Can they somehow magically hang on for a little bit longer? The way pushing in, Rigor Mortis going to have a Spellsure block out the Tempered Fate, but Super Minions pushing in everywhere. And there's really not much that Synthetic Insanity can do to clear out these waves. L9 do clear out these waves. Synthetic Insanity just needs to wait things out. Scatterweek finds its way onto Bio Matrix, but the shields and the heals from the Redemption come through. Split Fred goes forward, and the hero's entrance will separate things out. Synthetic Insanity, they know they don't need to fight. They know they just need to wait around and have the Olaf going into the backside. They will finally close things out. They will get a few kills for good measure at the end. But Synthetic Insanity finally take a victory. The Nexus finally explodes. L9, in fairness, make it as tough as possible from 11k gold down. They really had no right to send that game as long as it did, but it's still just too much for them to handle.
Yeah, I think it's poetic that Split Breed of all people is the one to collect the double kill as the game ends. It started and ended with his Jax. Got himself to a fantastic lead in the early game, closes it out in the end game, and 14-1-6. That is a ridiculous scoreline for a quarterfinal matchup. He just completely outperformed everyone else on the Rift, and frankly had a fantastic series. Was a standout performer on his team, and well deserving
of that semifinal spot.
And so, I mean, split bread, it's split breed. Either way, split breed just having a really strong showing in general, with the rest of Synthetic Insanity really running the show here in game 4, securing their advance after what was looking a little bit shaky there in game 1, that maybe L9 could potentially upset the odds. Synthetic Insanity lock in and finally take this series and do so in a convincing fashion in game 4. And yeah, finally they look locked in and ready to go for the semifinals. But commiserations to L9. They really did hang in there in all 3 of their losses. They kept it going as long as possible. They made it very, very difficult for Synthetic Insanity, fairness to them. But yeah, congrats to Insanity on locking in their spot in semifinals. We'll be looking forward to seeing them. That actually, depending on what the stream matches might be, they might not be on stream next week, but either way, we'll have to see whatever that point is. That will be it from us tonight here in Blue Otter League. I've been Isaac. Alongside me for this cast has been Colonel. Loki's been running things behind the scenes, making this all possible, and thanks to everyone at Blue Otter League for organizing this event, and have a good night.